Chapter 2594. If you want the secret arts of origin, that's not a problem. But have you decided what price you'll have to pay? Suddenly, an indifferent voice rang out. Ling Xiao and Gu Daoyi arrived together and landed in front of everyone in an instant. Ling Xiao's white robe fluttered in the wind. His face was as handsome as jade, his temperament was extraordinary, and his eyes were incomparably bright. The moment he appeared in front of everyone, it was as if everyone's focus was on him. Ling Xiao was the center of the world, an existence that attracted the attention of the world. His appearance seemed to make everyone pale in comparison. Gu Daoyi, on the other hand, was dressed in a Taoist robe. His face was clear, and his hair was white. His eyes were old and deep, revealing the light of wisdom, ethereal and otherworldly. Ling Xiao's gaze fell on the four patriarchs, indifferent and calm. The four patriarchs were also examining Ling Xiao at this moment. This heaven's chosen child had too many legends, and they were very curious about him. What no one noticed was that the black-robed girl beside Feng Xian couldn't help but tremble violently after seeing Ling Xiao. Her eyes were filled with excitement. "Cousin, you're finally here." Long Outyan's eyes immediately lit up when he saw Ling Xiao. The reason he used the black tortoise secret art just now was not only to break through Xianji's absolute defense, but more importantly, Ling Xiao had secretly instructed him to use the black tortoise secret art. Although Long Outyan didn't know why, the four sacred clans had obviously taken the bait. Great Perfection Realm, is this the heaven's chosen child's cultivation? The four patriarchs' hearts trembled. This Ling Xiao looked extraordinary, and his cultivation was also quite powerful. It was said that Ling Xiao's cultivation was only in the half-saint realm 100 years ago, and in just 100 years, he had crossed two major realms. This cultivation speed was indeed incomparably monstrous. The heaven's chosen child's fortune made the four patriarchs exclaim in admiration. "You're Ling Xiao?" The 5 great secret arts of origin were originally left behind by our 5 sacred clans' ancestors, and they're extremely important to our 5 sacred clans. I hope you can give them to us. Our 4 sacred clans will never forget your kindness. Bai Chongshan glanced indifferently at Ling Xiao and said slowly, "I said I can give you the great secret arts of origin, but you have to pay the price." Ling Xiao smiled indifferently. "What do you want? Heavenly materials and earthly treasures, heavenly palace holy techniques, or panacea? As long as you tell us, we will do our best to find it for you." Xian Sha hurriedly said, "I have 3 conditions. As long as you agree to them, I will teach you the origin source secret technique." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "What conditions? Tell me about it." Huang Lan said, "To the 4 great saint clans, the quintessence secret arts were of utmost importance. Other than the apex monarch weapons and supreme monarch scriptures that could not be used to exchange for the quintessence secret arts, they were willing to pay any price. First, I want 4 drops of blood from the ancestor phoenix, white tiger, black tortoise, and qilin." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. "The blood of the 4 primogenitors? How dare you? The blood of my ancestor, other than my own people, will never be given to anyone else. This is impossible." Bai Chongshan's expression changed as his eyes turned cold. Feng Xian, Xian Sha, and Huang Lan also frowned. Although the blood of the 4 primal ancestors was precious, and there was not much left in the 4 holy clans, there was still some left. However, if the blood of the 4 primal ancestors was given to an outsider, it would be hard for them to accept it. "I only want 4 drops of blood. You should know what an origin source secret technique represents. Although 4 drops of primogenitor blood is precious, it is nothing compared to an origin source secret technique." Ling Xiao smiled faintly as if he was not worried that the 4 clan leaders would not agree. "Ling Xiao, don't think that just because you are the chosen one, you have the right to negotiate with us. I have killed more than 100 saint kings, let alone a great saint. Even the dragon clan cannot protect you. Are you sure you want to be our enemy?" Bai Chongshan stared coldly at Ling Xiao. "What? Is clan leader by trying to rob us?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. Long Outyan and Long Xiaoxiao's expressions changed. Bai Chongshan's words were a blatant threat, and he did not care about the Dragon Clan at all. However, Feng Xian, Huang Lan, and Xian Sha also fell silent as if they agreed with Bai Chongshan's words. They were very unhappy with Ling Zhao's conditions, and they did not think that Ling Xiao had the right to negotiate with them. Bai Chongshan, even that brat Bai Feng, does not dare to behave atrociously in front of the Dragon Clan. You don't care about the Dragon Clan at all. Do you believe that Bai Feng will not even dare to fart after I kill you? Gu Daoyi suddenly looked at Bai Chongshan and said. Bai Chongshan was furious when he heard this, but when he saw Gu Daoyi's half-smile, he suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. Senior, who are you? Do you know my ancestor? Bai Chongshan suppressed the anger in his heart and asked cautiously. He realized that he could not see through Gu Daoyi's cultivation at all. Bai Feng was the ancestor of the White Tiger clan, an unparalleled imperial emperor powerhouse. If he dared to call out Bai Feng's name and call Bai Feng a brat, he was either crazy or had an extremely shocking background. Bai Chongshan could not help but be careful. I am Gu Daoyi. How is Bai Feng now? 90 million years ago, I once preached to that brat. I did not expect that brat to have become an imperial emperor after 90 million years. Gu Daoyi's eyes revealed a trace of emotion. Gu Daoyi, you are the fierce lord. Bai Chongshan was a little confused at first, but he suddenly thought of something and could not help but tremble. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The peerless, ruthless person from 100 million years ago, known as the #1 prodigy of the demon realm, the person who had the most hope of becoming an imperial emperor in this era of the demon realm, the fierce Lord Gu Daoyi, was still alive? Bai Chongshan instantly felt his entire body drenched in sweat. His eyes were filled with incomparable reverence. Feng Yao, Xian Du, and Huang Fu, how are those three brats? Back then, they listened to my preaching with Bai Feng. I did not expect that they would all become imperial emperors. However, that brat Long Qing died a long time ago. Gu Daoyi glanced at Feng Xian and the others. His expression was a little sad. Long Qing was the dragon sovereign of the Dragon Clan from 90 million years ago. He had once entered the sealing dragon abyss to listen to Gu Daoyi's preaching. However, he died at the hands of the demon race later on. He did not survive like the other four. Moreover, he had lived for 90 million years and became the old ancestor of the 4 sacred clans. Senior Fierce Lord, the old ancestor is doing well. If he knew that you were still alive, he would definitely be very happy. Feng Xian said with incomparable respect. However, she still could not hide the shock in her eyes. The fierce lord of ancient times was still alive? If this news spread throughout the demon realm, it would probably cause an uproar in the entire demon realm. After the battle at the 10,000 Dragon Mountain range 3 months ago, the Dragon Clan had sealed off all information regarding the fierce lord. Greetings, Senior Fierce Lord. The old ancestor is doing well. Greetings, Senior Fierce Lord. Xian Sha and Huang Lan also hurriedly smiled bitterly and bowed. Their faces were filled with shock and restraint. The peerless, ruthless person in front of them had once survived the Emperor Tribulation. No one doubted that he could not become a saint. Moreover, they were well aware of the relationship between the fierce lord and the Dragon Clan. With this person presiding over the Dragon Clan, let alone the 4 of them, even the 4 old ancestors would have to respectfully bow to him. Senior Gu's reputation is actually so great? Long Outyan's eyes also widened as he looked at everything in front of him with some disbelief. The 4 clan leaders were all heavenly venerable realm powerhouses. A moment ago, they were still aggressive as if they wanted to join forces to force the Dragon Clan to abdicate. However, they did not expect that a few casual words from Gu Daoyi would immediately turn them into obedient children. The name of the fierce lord is known throughout the world. Ling Xiao also sighed softly as a glimmer of light appeared in his eyes. This was good too. Gu Daoyi had intimidated the 4 clan leaders, so his next goal would be much easier to achieve. Chapter 2595. Senior Gu, I agree to Ling Xiao's first condition. As long as he is willing to teach us the complete True Phoenix secret arts, I can give him a drop of true phoenix blood essence. Feng Xian said slowly. With Gu Daoyi in charge of the dragon race, they had completely given up on probing the dragon race. I agree as well. I agree. Xian Sha and Huang Lan nodded in agreement. Even Bai Chongshan had an extremely awkward expression on his face as he nodded silently. Though they could not discern Gu Daoyi's cultivation level, they could feel the pressure and danger that Gu Daoyi gave them. Could it be that this ultimate elite from 100 million years ago was about to prove his Dao and become a monarch tier? Thank you for your generosity then, for patriarchs. My second condition is that I hope to visit True Phoenix Planet, Black Tortoise Planet, White Tiger Planet, and Qilin Planet. I'm very curious about the ancestral lands of the 4 great sacred clans, and I want to verify what I've learned there. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and raised his second condition. He didn't expect Gu Daoyi's reputation to be so great that even the old ancestors of the 4 great sacred clans were called brats by Gu Daoyi. This made it even easier for Ling Xiao to achieve his goal. No problem, we agree. The 4 patriarchs exchanged glances with each other as a strange look appeared in their eyes. In the end, Feng Xian smiled and agreed to Ling Zhao's condition. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat when he saw the 4 patriarchs' expressions. Was there a problem with this condition? The 4 great sacred clans had agreed so easily. Those were the ancestral lands of the 4 great sacred clans, and they were letting Ling Xiao enter so easily? There was a problem. Although Ling Xiao knew that there was a problem, he didn't know what it was. He looked at the 4 patriarchs and raised his third condition. My third condition is that I hope that the old ancestors of the 4 great sacred clans can help me once in a critical moment. The 4 great sacred clans had 4 old ancestors, which meant that they were 4 imperial emperors. If the 4 imperial emperors worked together, even Ling Xiao had a chance of killing a devil imperial emperor. This was also Ling Zhao's life-saving trump card. Feng Xian, Bai Chongshan, Xian Sha, and Huang Lan frowned when they heard Ling Zhao's third condition. They didn't agree immediately. Instead, they set up barriers and mysterious runes appeared on their palms as if they were communicating with some mysterious existence. Ling Xiao guessed that the 4 of them were probably contacting the old ancestors of the 4 great clans. After all, the 4 of them couldn't make the decision. After a long time. We have just communicated with the ancestors, and the 4 ancestors have agreed to help you once. When you enter the ancestral lands of the 4 clans, the ancestors will leave behind a trace of imprint to help you at a critical moment. Feng Xian said slowly while looking at Ling Xiao. Her expression was a little complicated. Ling Zhao's condition was actually the easiest out of the 3 conditions. Ling Xiao had returned the Origin's secret technique to them, so he had become a great benefactor of the 4 sacred clans. It wasn't a big deal for the 4 ancestors to take action for him. However, Ling Xiao was the chosen one of this era. His path was destined to be full of dangers and challenges in the future. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was the enemy of the entire world. At the very least, many people in the 2 strongest realms, the Devil Realm and the God Realm, hated Ling Xiao to the bone. If the ancestors of the 4 great sacred clans took action for Ling Xiao, then they would form a karmic relationship with Ling Xiao. They didn't know what kind of impact this would have on the 4 great sacred clans. However, they had to take a gamble for the Origin's secret technique. The 4 patriarchs discussed for a while and finally handed 4 crystal bottles to Ling Xiao. Each crystal bottle contained a drop of blood that exuded a chaotic color. They looked crystal clear and showed the image of a phoenix, a white tiger, a black tortoise, and a qilin. They contained a mysterious energy fluctuation. Ling Xiao, these are 4 drops of the blood essence of the 4 ancestors. Keep them well. Can you pass the Origin's secret technique to us now? Feng Xian passed the 4 crystal bottles to Ling Xiao and said with a trace of anticipation in her eyes. Blood essence of the ancestors? Ling Zhao's heart moved as a trace of excitement appeared in his eyes. Of the 5 great Origin secret techniques, only the ancestral dragon secret technique had been cultivated to perfection by Ling Xiao. As for the other 4 great Origin secret techniques, he had only cultivated them to small success. The main reason was that he didn't have the bloodline of the other 4 great sacred clans. Now that he had obtained the blood essence of the 4 great sacred clans' ancestors, Ling Xiao believed that it wouldn't be long before he could cultivate the other 4 great origin secret techniques to perfection. Moreover, Ling Xiao had a vague feeling that the 5 great origin secret techniques were extremely important to his primordial immortal body and his future path. These are 4 inheritance crystals. They contain the complete 4 great origin secret techniques. Ling Xiao didn't hesitate. Although the 4 great sacred clans had only fulfilled the first condition, he knew that they wouldn't dare to go back on their word with Gu Daoyi around. Therefore, he directly gave the 4 inheritance crystals to the 4 patriarchs. The True Phoenix Secret Technique. This is the True Phoenix Secret Technique. Feng Xian received the inheritance crystals as if they were priceless treasures. She probed the inheritance crystals with a trace of consciousness and instantly trembled with excitement. The other 3 patriarchs were also extremely excited. Their eyes were filled with deep gratitude as they looked at Ling Xiao. Even the most hot-tempered and arrogant Bai Chongshan's gaze had softened a lot. The 5 great origin secret techniques were extremely important to the 5 great sacred clans. In fact, they were even more important than the clan-guarding emperor scriptures. One had to know that although Ling Xiao had inherited the dragon bloodline from Long Hanyan, his dragon bloodline wasn't strong at the time. However, he had relied on the ancestral dragon secret technique to forcefully form the ancestral dragon body. This was the significance of the 5 great origin secret techniques. Even if the members of the 5 great sacred clans didn't have enough bloodline, they could return to their origins and continuously strengthen their bloodline if they cultivated the origin secret techniques. In fact, they could even reach atavism in the end and possess the potential to rival the 5 great sacred clans' ancestors. Once the genius experts of the 5 great sacred clans cultivated the origin secret techniques, their bloodline shackles would no longer be a problem. Anyone could grow to a sufficiently powerful level. This was the root of the 5 great sacred clans' strength. Therefore, even though Ling Xiao had raised 3 conditions, the 4 patriarchs were still grateful to him. The 5 great sacred clans have been silent for far too long. During the most glorious period of the ancient times, the 5 great sacred clans were the overlords of the heavens. Under the leadership of the dragon race, they swept through the 10,000 realms. How glorious was that! I hope that you can continue to accumulate strength to face the next great calamity of the era. Gu Daoyi said indifferently as he stood with his hands behind his back and looked into the distance. Thank you for your teachings, Senior. The 4 patriarchs respectfully bowed and said, please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile reading website. Chapter 2596. They understood what Gu Daoyi meant. Gu Daoyi had most likely decided to stand up for the dragon race. Although the 5 great sacred clans were united, there were still differences in strength. The dragon race was strong and ruled over the 4 great sacred clans, but now that the dragon race was weak, it was inevitable that the 4 great sacred clans would have some thoughts. Otherwise, the 4 patriarchs wouldn't have used the dragon monarch inauguration ceremony to test the dragon race's foundation. Don't worry. Although I'm on the dragon race's side, I won't do anything for the dragon race. The dragon race's strength can only depend on the dragon race. I'm not forcing you to submit to the dragon race. You came to the dragon race this time because you want to open the Chaos Secret Realm, right? Why don't we make an agreement and let the 5 of them enter the Chaos Secret Realm? Once they leave the Chaos Secret Realm, the one who can convince the other 4 to submit will be the master of the 5 great sacred clans. What do you think? Gu Daoyi smiled faintly. His eyes were incomparably wise, as if he could see through the 4 patriarchs' thoughts with a single glance. Senior Gu, we do want to open the Chaos Secret Realm, but I'm afraid we can't make the decision for this agreement you mentioned. Feng Xian thought for a moment and said with a bitter smile. That's right. Senior Gu, this is too important. I'm afraid we need to ask the old ancestor. Huang Lan also smiled bitterly. They were relieved that Gu Daoyi didn't directly support the dragon race to become the master of the 5 great sacred clans, but after hearing Gu Daoi's suggestion, they hesitated. Don't worry. Bai Feng, Feng Yao, Xuandu, and Huang Fu will definitely agree. The great calamity of an era is coming, and the 5 great sacred clans can no longer afford internal friction. We must unite as one, understand? Gu Daoi smiled faintly. His eyes were full of meaning as he looked at Feng Xian and the others. Bai Hansong, Xuanji, and Huang Ju's eyes lit up. They looked at each other, and their eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. It had to be said that placing the leadership of the 5 sacred clans in the hands of 5 juniors was a little too big of a gamble, but it was also very exciting. They were all heaven's prides and monstrous geniuses, and were almost destined to be the next patriarch of the sacred clans. None of them were willing to submit to anyone else. If someone could subdue them and become the leader of the 5 sacred clans, they would be wholeheartedly convinced. If it's a fair fight, we won't be afraid of Long Outyin. As long as he doesn't cheat and doesn't use his extreme Dao monarch weapon, Bai Hansong, will definitely win. Bai Hansong said coldly. Even now, he still held a grudge against Long Outyin for bringing out the Dragon Abyss sword. Xiao Bai, have you forgotten about our bet? Still not calling him boss? Don't be unconvinced. Even if I don't use an extreme Dao Emperor armament, I can still beat you up so badly that your father won't recognize you. Do you believe me? Long Outyin laughed proudly. Bai Chongshan's face instantly darkened, and a hostile look appeared in his eyes. This Long Outyin is really arrogant. He can pretend that he didn't hear me when I scolded the young one. Now he's even scolding the old one? That's cheating. I'm not convinced. Bai Hansong turned his head and said proudly. Senior Gu, what is the Chaos Mystery Land? Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he looked at Gu Daoi and asked. Ling Xiao, you came out from the Ancestral Dragon Cave. You should know where the Ancestral Dragon Cave is, right? Gu Daoi didn't answer Ling Xiao directly. Instead, he smiled faintly. The Ancestral Dragon Cave leads directly to the Ancestral Dragon Star. It is said that the Ancestral Dragon Star is the birthplace of the Archean Dragon. I can vaguely sense that the Ancestral Dragon Star isn't in the monster realm. It seems to be in a piece of chaos. Ling Xiao said slowly. That's right. The Ancestral Dragon Star isn't in the monster realm. It's in the Chaos Sea. Not only the Ancestral Dragon Star, but the other 4 ancestral stars are also in the Chaos Sea. The Chaos Sea is a land of nothingness. It's also the birthplace of the universe. The Chaos Mystery Land is also in the Chaos Sea. Although the Ancestral Dragon Star, the Real Phoenix Star, the White Tiger Star, the Black Tortoise Star and the Qilin Star are 5 planets, they are actually the nodes of a super formation. The Chaos Mystery Land is hidden in it. The Chaos Mystery Land is actually a small world. It was sealed by the 5 primogenitors in the ancient times. Legend has it that it's a fragment of the Chaos Land and it contains many opportunities. In the past, the disciples of the 5 sacred clans would enter the Chaos Mystery Land to train. However, ever since the 5 origin secret skills were lost, it became extremely difficult to open the Chaos Mystery Land and one would have to pay a high price. Hence, the Chaos Mystery Land hasn't been opened all these years. The last time it was opened was 100 million years ago. Gu Daoi said slowly and introduced the Chaos Mystery Land to Ling Xiao. Senior Gu is right. The Chaos Mystery Land is extremely important to the 5 sacred clans. However, the 5 origin secret skills are the key to opening the Chaos Mystery Land. After the 5 origin secret skills were lost, one would have to pay a high price to open the Chaos Mystery Land. This time, we are also under the orders of the 4 old ancestors to discuss opening the Chaos Mystery Land with the Dragon Clan in order to deal with the upcoming great calamity of the new era. Feng Xian added. Not only does the Chaos Mystery Land have great opportunities, it also has great dangers. After all, it's a fragment of the Chaos Land. There are ancient gods, demons, and powerful ferocious beasts in it. No one has entered it for 100 million years. No one knows what's going on inside the Chaos Mystery Land now. Huang Lan sighed emotionally as he spoke. Ling Xiao, Long Outyin, Long Xiao Xiao, Bai Hansong, and the others learned about the Chaos Mystery Land from Gu Daoyi and the 4 clan leaders. The Chaos Mystery Land was the biggest secret of the 5 sacred clans. Even Long Xiaoxiao didn't know about it. Perhaps Long Xian knew but didn't have the time to tell him. All in all, the Chaos Mystery Land was a place of opportunity for the 5 sacred clans. However, it also contained indescribable dangers. How many entrances are there to the Chaos Mystery Land? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he asked a crucial question. Logically speaking, the Chaos Mystery Land can only be entered by passing through the 5 ancestral stars. However, the Chaos Mystery Land is extremely vast. It's a fragment of the Chaos Land. We don't know if there are other entrances. Feng Xianer said. If that's the case, if the Chaos Mystery Land opens, perhaps other people will be able to enter, right? Ling Xiao said slowly. It's possible. However, the Chaos Mystery Land is suppressed by the laws. Only those below the Saint King realm can enter. Once you become a Saint King and condense a Saint Tree, it's equivalent to walking your own path. You'll be suppressed by the laws of the Chaos Mystery Land. Xiansha said. If that's the case, then there's nothing to be afraid of. My cousin can even kill a Saint King. If he follows us into the Chaos Mystery Land, he'll be invincible. Long Outyen said confidently. Don't be so careless. Although Saint Kings couldn't enter, no one knew what kind of powerhouses were in the Chaos Mystery Land. 100 million years ago, there were heavenly venerables in the Chaos Mystery Land. No one knew what the current situation was. Who knows, maybe an emperor has already been born. Gu Daoyi warned with a serious gaze. Chapter 2597. A monarch? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply. If there really was a monarch in the Chaos Secret Realm, it was definitely not good news for them. With Ling Zhao's current cultivation, he was no match for a monarch even if he had an extreme monarch weapon in hand. It would be difficult for him to even escape with his life. A monarch was already on a whole other level. Gu Daoyi's words calmed the excited Long Outyen, Bai Hansong, Xian Ji, and Huang Ju slightly. They also became much more cautious. Suddenly, Ling Zhao's gaze fell on the black-robed girl beside Feng Xian. A trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. The black-robed girl in front of him looked elegant and refined. Her temperament was extraordinary. Her face was covered by a thin veil and her eyes were incomparably cold. Ling Xiao did not notice this black-robed girl before, but now he felt a sense of familiarity. How should I address you? Have we met before? Ling Xiao asked curiously. The black-robed girl's body trembled slightly. Her long eyelashes fluttered and her gaze was somewhat complicated. However, an incomparably dazzling smile immediately bloomed on her face. Ling Xiao, long time no see. The black-robed girl gently took off her veil and smiled gently at Ling Xiao. Her smile was light and very beautiful. The Phoenix girl? Ling Zhao's body trembled. A trace of incomparable surprise appeared in his eyes. The black-robed girl in front of him was different from the Phoenix girl in Ling Zhao's memory, be it her aura or appearance. It was as if she had undergone some kind of transformation. However, her smile was exactly the same as the Phoenix girl's. It instantly evoked Ling Zhao's long-sealed memories. It's me. We haven't met for 100 years, but you're still the same as before. So, domineering. The Phoenix girl covered her mouth and laughed softly. Her smile was like a blooming flower that made heaven and earth pale in comparison. Bai Hansong, Huang Ju, and Xian Ji were stunned. They had never seen the Phoenix girl smile before. The Phoenix girl had always looked cold and inviolable. She was as holy as an ice mountain. When had she ever revealed such a smile? It was as if they were meeting the Phoenix girl for the first time. I returned to the God of War's realm before, but I found out that you and the Moon God had disappeared. I didn't expect you to come to the Phoenix clan and have such an opportunity and fortune. I'm really happy for you. Ling Xiao said sincerely. You went to look for me? So you were very worried about me? Phoenix girl's eyes lit up as she looked at Ling Xiao with anticipation. Yes, of course I'm worried about you. Ling Zhao's heart trembled, but he still spoke calmly. The Wind Maiden smiled. Her eyes seemed to be shining with incomparable satisfaction. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. After so many years, the Phoenix Maiden still hadn't changed at all. At this moment, everyone could see the strange relationship between Ling Xiao and Phoenix Woman. Sister Phoenix Girl, do you still remember me? Long Outyin rolled his eyes and walked in front of the Phoenix Maiden as he spoke. Of course I remember you. Who would have thought that the mischievous brat from back then would actually grow up and even become the dragon monarch of the Dragon Clan? Phoenix Woman said with a smile. Her eyes were filled with emotion. Sister Phoenix Girl is the best, much better than those 3 bastards. Long Outyin said with a smile. Then, he looked at Bai Hansong, Huang Ju, and Xuanji provocatively. Bai Hansong and the other 2 were a little speechless. This Long Outyin's tale was about to reach the sky. His 3 sentences were all about them. All right, everyone let's go. Sister Phoenix Girl and my cousin are old friends. When old friends meet, they will definitely have endless things to talk about. Don't be a hindrance here. Long Outyin glared at Bai Hansong and the other 2 and said with a smile. The 4 clan leaders shook their heads. Even Feng Xian let out a bitter laugh at this moment. She shot Ling Xiao an unfriendly glance, but she didn't say anything as she turned around and left. They had obtained the origin source secret technique and couldn't wait to go back and cultivate it. It's good to be young. Gu Daoyi also smiled in a carefree manner and then turned to leave. The people of the Dragon Clan were naturally chased away by Long Outyin. Even Long Xiaoxiao wanted to say something, but she was forcefully pulled away by Long Outyin. This little girl was too insensible. Seeing Long Outyin being so brazen, the Phoenix Maiden's face couldn't help but blush. She looked very beautiful. Cough cough, Phoenix Maiden, tell me how you came to the demon realm. Ling Xiao coughed softly. Yes. The Moon Goddess and I went to explore the Cosmic River a few days ago and accidentally found a secret realm in the Cosmic River. We accidentally fell into a tributary of the Cosmic River. When I woke up, I was already in the demon realm. The Phoenix Maiden slowly recounted her experience in the demon realm. It turned out that she was the same as Zhao Ritian. She had left the God of War realm through the Cosmic River and somehow came to the demon realm. The Phoenix Maiden had the Dark Phoenix bloodline, which was a mutated bloodline of the Phoenix clan. Feng Xian happened to see her and brought her back to the Phoenix clan. She was taken in as a direct disciple and taught with great care. The Phoenix Maiden didn't let Feng Xian down. In just 100 years, she broke through from the early stage of the divine spirit realm and became a saint. She was hailed as the #1 prodigy of the Phoenix clan in 1,000,000 years. The current Phoenix Maiden defeated many geniuses of the Phoenix clan and became the Phoenix Maiden. She was already vaguely seen as the next clan leader of the Phoenix clan. Phoenix Maiden, I'm relieved to see you like this. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ling Xiao, actually, you taught me the true Phoenix secret technique, but I didn't tell anyone, not even my master. Even if the true Phoenix secret technique is important to the Phoenix clan, you taught it to me. I won't tell anyone without your permission. The Phoenix Maiden suddenly raised her head and said seriously to Ling Xiao. I know. Ling Xiao let out a bitter laugh. From the moment he recognized the Phoenix girl, he knew that this silly girl was hiding the true Phoenix secret technique from the Phoenix clan. Even Feng Xian didn't know how important the true Phoenix secret technique was. Ling Xiao, I thought that 100 years would be enough for me to catch up to you, but I didn't expect the gap between us to be so big. You're already a great saint now, but I won't give up. I'll catch up to you one day. The Phoenix Maiden said with a smile, but there was a trace of determination in her eyes. I believe you. You're now the young clan leader of the Phoenix clan. Maybe you'll have broken through to the Great Saint realm by the time you come out of the Chaos Secret realm. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Yes, I won't be a burden to you. Ling Xiao, I want to help you. No matter what happens in the future, even if you become the enemy of the entire world, I want to help you. The Phoenix Maiden said seriously. Then her face turned red, and she waved at Ling Xiao, turned around and ran away. This silly girl. Ling Xiao said with a bitter smile, a trace of guilt surging in his heart. He had let her down in the end. Under the sunlight, the Phoenix Maiden's shadow was very long, and it looked very distressing. After a long time, Ling Xiao turned around and left. Chapter 2598. The battle within the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain didn't attract the attention of others because of the concealment of the Grand Array. After all, the 5 sacred clans were united on the surface. If others were to see the battle between the 5 sacred clans, it would be a joke. After the 4 clan leaders obtained the origin source secret technique, they couldn't wait to go into seclusion. The 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain became more and more lively. Everyone knew that the new dragon monarch of the Dragon Clan was called Long Outyan. It was said that he was the successor of Ao Xing Dragon Monarch. They were all very curious about this dragon monarch. In the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain, the security of the Dragon Clan was incomparably strict. Every member of the Dragon Clan had an excited smile on their faces. The experts that Ling Xiao subdued in the Sealing Dragon Abyss were also put to use. They became the law enforcement team of the Dragon Clan, patrolling the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain to prevent those who came to participate in the ceremony from causing trouble. 20 Saint Kings were still very intimidating. In the entire demon world, other than the few top forces that could bring out so many Saint Kings, the other forces were incomparably shocked and respectful. It was said that the Dragon Clan was weak now, but now it seemed that the Dragon Clan's foundation was indeed incomparably strong. Even if they were no longer as glorious as they were in ancient times, they still couldn't be underestimated. Especially the other 4 sacred clans. The 4 clan leaders personally came, and there was a faint feeling that they were escorting the Dragon Clan, which made the crowd faintly fanciful. After all, it was said that the 4 sacred clans and the Dragon Clan didn't get along well, and there was a lot of friction between them. But now it seemed that this wasn't the case. If the 5 sacred clans were to unite as one, the power that erupted would probably shake the entire demon world. Amidst this speculation, the Dragon Monarch's coronation ceremony began. The central square of the Dragon Clan was vast and boundless. It was paved with precious origin source crystals, and it was shrouded in clouds, looking ethereal and mysterious. There were 108 stone pillars with coiling dragons engraved on them. They looked lifelike and full of spirituality, as if they would come to life at any time. On top of each of the stone pillars, there was a Saint King guarding them. Further up was a white jade staircase, like a path to the heavens, leading directly to the 10,000 Dragons' heavenly palace in the 9 heavens. 36 great sages stood on either side of the white jade steps. Each of them looked dignified, their faces solemn as they stood on either side of the steps, exuding vast draconic might. Above the 10,000 Dragons' celestial palace, there was an ancient altar that emitted 9-colored light. 20 Saint Kings guarded the altar. Seeing such a scene, everyone who came to watch the ceremony felt a huge pressure. The enthronement ceremony of the Dragon God was not complicated. The main point was that the Dragon God would appear and step on the path to heaven from the central square. Finally, he would ascend the 9 dragons' altar and announce to the world that he would worship the ancestors of the dragon race. Finally, the ceremony would be completed and he would become the true supreme of the dragon race. Everyone was no stranger to the enthronement ceremony, but they all understood that this was an opportunity for the dragon tribe to display their power. At the same time, it was also an opportunity for everyone to investigate the dragon tribe. When the sun rose, the first ray of golden light pierced through the sky and sprinkled on the central square. The golden sunlight dyed everything in pure gold. Endless clouds rolled in the sky above the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain. In the end, it formed a giant dragon that gave off a chaotic luster. Vast draconic might exploded as the dragon's roar resounded through the sky. A figure flew down from the chaos dragon and appeared in the central square in an instant. It was a young man in golden armor. He looked like a god and was extraordinarily handsome. The cape behind him fluttered loudly in the wind. As he walked, he revealed a dignified and domineering aura. He wore a flat crown on his head and cloud-treading boots on his feet. Every step he took, A golden divine dragon would surge out from under his feet and coil around him, expressing its submission. As soon as he appeared in the central square, it was as if he had become the center of the entire world. Everyone's gaze was focused on him. Dragon god Long Outyin, step on the path to heaven and worship the dragon ancestors. Ao Ryu and Ao Xingchen came over together, one on the left and one on the right, protecting Long Outyin. They bowed to Long Outyin and shouted at the same time, then led Long Outyin up the white jade stairs. This is Long Outyin? The new dragon god of the Dragon Clan? Looks like he's not bad. He has an imposing appearance and is extraordinarily handsome. But it's a pity that his cultivation is only at the Saint Realm. Can such cultivation suppress the entire Dragon Clan? Who knows? But don't you see that everyone in the Dragon Clan is so fanatical? Especially those Saint King elders who are bowing to him. Looks like his prestige in the Dragon Clan is not low. I heard that the reason why Long Outyin could ascend to the position of Dragon God is because of his cousin, the legendary Heaven's Chosen Son. Heaven's Chosen Son? Legend has it that he possesses the heavenly Tao's fortune and is known as the master of the next era. The Heaven's Chosen Son is indeed very lucky. The Immortal Realm and Demon Realm set up a killing trap at the same time, but they were unable to kill him. They even allowed him to come to the Demon Realm. I wonder where the Heaven's Chosen Son is? Compared to the Dragon God of the Dragon Clan, I want to see how the Heaven's Chosen Son is more. Everyone was discussing animatedly with different expressions in their eyes. Although Long Outyin had proven his Tao and become a saint, his strength was still a little lacking as the Dragon God of the Dragon Clan. When the clan leaders of the 5 great saint clans succeeded their positions, their cultivation was already at the Saint King realm. Long Outyan's appearance made many people suspicious. At the same time, they were also curious about the Heaven's Chosen Son behind Long Outyan. At this moment, Ling Xiao, Long Xiaoxiao, Phoenix Maiden, Bai Hansong, Xuanji, and Huangju were standing in the heavenly palace of 10,000 dragons to observe the ceremony. They watched as Long Outyan walked up the white jade steps and stepped onto the 9 dragons' altar. He announced to the heavens and earth that he was paying respects to the ancestors of the Dragon Clan. A series of dragon roars resounded between heaven and earth. All the Dragon Clan in the 10,000 Dragons Sacred Mountain let out an earth-shattering roar at the same time, shaking the void in all directions. The Chaos Giant Dragon in the void rolled violently. In the end, it emitted a dazzling divine radiance. It was as if a light pillar had descended from the heavens and landed on Long Outyan's body. The dragon pillar seemed to contain vast and pure energy. It caused Long Outyan's aura to skyrocket rapidly. Early Saint Realm, Middle Saint Realm, Late Saint Realm, Great Saint Realm. Under everyone's gaze, Long Outyan's cultivation rose from the early Saint Realm to the Great Saint Realm. Is this the blessing of the ancestral dragon? It's really powerful. Ling Zhao's eyes shone brightly as he exclaimed. The Dragon God enthronement ceremony was not only to announce to the world that Long Outyan had become the sovereign of the Dragon Clan. More importantly, after the Dragon God enthronement ceremony, he would receive the blessing of the ancestral dragon. It was the essence of the Dragon Clan's fate that had been gathered for 1,000,000 years. It was enough to make a Saint King. Chapter 2599. Long Outyan's cultivation had risen to the great circle of the Sage Realm. Most of his energy was suppressed in his body and he did not break through immediately. The ancestral dragon's blessing had saved Long Outyan 1,000 years of hard work. Not only Ling Xiao, but even Bai Hansong, Xuanji, and Huangju had looks of envy in their eyes. Among the 5 great clans, the clan leader would receive the blessing of the ancestral dragon when he ascended the throne. Unfortunately, the clan leaders of the other 4 great clans were still alive. It was impossible for them to inherit the clan leader's position during this period of time. Naturally, they would not receive the blessing of the ancestral dragon. How long had it been since Long Outyan broke through? Who would have thought that he would rise to the great circle of the Sage Realm in the blink of an eye? Bai Hansong, Huangju, and Xianji looked at each other and felt a sense of danger. They had to work hard. After the Dragon God Ascension ceremony, they would be able to cultivate the Origin Source secret technique. At that time, with the help of the Origin Source secret technique, their cultivation would soar once again. After all, the upcoming trip to the Chaos Secret Realm would not only determine how much fortune and opportunity they would obtain, but it would also determine who the 5 great clans would be in charge of. At the thought of this, the leaders of the 5 great sacred clans felt a strong fighting spirit surge in their hearts. Their gazes also became sharper. Rumble. However, at this moment, there was an intense battle coming from afar. How dare you? How dare you cause trouble in my dragon clan? Battle dragon guards, quickly go and investigate what exactly happened. A sharp glint flashed in Aoryu's eyes as he roared. Yes, Elder. 2 great saints of the dragon clan clad in black armor answered and bowed to Aoryu. Cold, killing intent flashed in their eyes as they turned around and flew towards the place where the battle was taking place. The battle dragon guards were the most elite guards of the dragon clan. Even the weakest of them was a sage to be expert. They were the elite force that protected the dragon clan and the dragon god. These 2 great sages of the dragon clan were the commanders of the battle dragon guards. They had been through hundreds of battles and had fought against the demon clan for many years. They were experts who had fought their way out of mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Their killing intent made everyone's face turn pale. At the same time, everyone was curious. Who was it that dared to cause trouble in the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain? In the heavenly palace of the 10,000 Dragons, Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Suddenly, he sensed 2 familiar auras from the battle in the distance. He immediately leapt up and flew towards the battle. Rumble! At the periphery of the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain, a barren mountain peak exploded. Blazing divine light crisscrossed as sword chi swept across the void, causing the world to tremble violently. The void was torn apart, and the black cracks in the void seemed to be able to destroy everything. There was a woman in white who looked incredibly charming and had a voluptuous figure. However, at this moment, her face was as cold as ice and her eyes were filled with flames of fury. She held an ancient sword and her sword chi swept out for 30,000 li, enveloping a delicate-looking young man and a middle-aged Taoist. Her every move was filled with killing intent. The handsome young man and the middle-aged Taoist both seemed to be in a difficult situation. Although the 2 of them had joined hands to fight the enemy, they were still at a disadvantage and were in a perilous situation. Young master, I have no intention of becoming enemies with the heaven-devouring mountain. Hand over that lecher. I want to tear him into pieces. The white-clothed woman said coldly to the handsome youth. Her eyes were filled with cold, killing intent as she looked at the middle-aged Taoist. Crazy bitch, you actually dare to behave atrociously in the 10,000 Dragons' sacred mountain? Aren't you afraid that the dragon race will kill you? The delicate-looking youth remained unmoved and shouted at the white-clothed woman. Dragon race? The dragon clan is only strong on the outside but weak on the inside. My Qingqiu clan is the true king of the Eastern Wood region. Don't think that the dragon clan can protect you just because you're here to participate in the dragon monarch ascension ceremony. The woman in white said coldly. Miss, why do you insist on forcing me? I've already explained that I didn't do it on purpose. Furthermore, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't be in such a good state right now. The middle-aged Taoist laughed bitterly. Bastard, you still have the guts to say that? If you hadn't barged into my seclusion grounds, if it hadn't been for you, how could I have possibly gone mad? You even saw my body. I'm going to kill you today. It would have been better if the middle-aged Taoist hadn't said anything. The moment he spoke, the white-clothed woman was about to explode with anger. Her eyes were filled with cold, killing intent as she glared at the middle-aged Taoist. Rumble. Sword chi swept across the surroundings with the force of wind and thunder. It was as if the sword chi was condensed from lightning from the 9 heavens. The delicate-looking youth and the middle-aged Taoist's expressions changed as the sword chi fell. They hurriedly retreated. This crazy bitch. If it weren't for the fact that I can't defeat her, I would definitely teach her a lesson. The middle-aged Taoist cursed inwardly. Isn't this all your fault? If you hadn't seen my body and touched it, Would this crazy bitch have chased us for 15 million kilometers? The delicate-looking youth rolled his eyes. Rumble. The terrifying sword chi fell and sent the middle-aged Taoist and the delicate-looking youth flying. The sword chi that filled the sky gathered together and instantly split into billions of sword chi behind the white-clothed woman. Each sword chi contained a terrifying sharpness that seemed to be able to destroy everything. Young Masterin, since you're determined to protect this bastard, don't blame me for being ruthless. The white-clothed woman said coldly. She swung her sword in the air and in an instant, billions of sword chi swept across. It was as if they had formed a sword domain that enveloped the middle-aged Taoist and the delicate-looking youth. Oh no, this crazy bitch is going all out. The delicate-looking youth's expression changed. This attack had completely sealed off his and the middle-aged Taoist's path of retreat. They could only take the attack head-on. However, the white-clothed woman was a sage ruler. Her strength was unparalleled. Even if they could withstand this attack, they would probably be severely injured. At this moment, a figure seemed to have pierced through the void and directly blocked the middle-aged Taoist and the delicate-looking youth. Facing the sword chi that was coming at him from all directions, he threw out a simple punch. The blazing fist print was unparalleled and exuded a vast amount of purple chi. It was majestic and mysterious. In an instant, it was as if an ancient world had risen and enveloped the three figures. The unparalleled fist print instantly swept away the sword chi that filled the sky. Furthermore, it did not lose its momentum and directly blasted towards the white-clothed woman. The white-clothed woman's expression changed. She felt the terror of this punch and hurriedly blocked it with her sword. In an instant, her sword collided with the purple fist print and exploded with the sound of metal clashing. The white-clothed woman only felt an unparalleled divine power coming from the ancient sword in her hand. It caused the blood in her body to surge and she could not help but retreat. Ling Xiao. The delicate-looking youth and the middle-aged Taoist looked at the figure in front of them and suddenly trembled. Their eyes were filled with excitement and disbelief. Taoist Wuliang, long time no see. The divine light that filled the sky sprinkled down like a rain of light. Ling Xiao turned his head and the corners of his mouth curled up. A brilliant smile bloomed on his face. End of chapter. Chapter 2600. Ling Xiao's gaze fell on the old goat and Taoist Wuliang, full of emotions. Although it was only a short 100 years, it felt like a long time to Ling Xiao. The old goat was like a younger brother and a friend to Ling Xiao. Taoist Wuliang was also like a teacher and a friend. The two of them could be said to be the closest people to Ling Xiao other than his parents and Jinsei. They all had a common name, which was brothers. Ling Xiao, you're really in the dragon clan. But you're too mean. You've been in the demon realm for so long and you didn't even look for me. The old goat said with some excitement and some resentment. Ling Xiao, fortunately you're not dead. Otherwise, I would have to be the enemy of the entire demon realm and divine realm. I'm afraid I can't handle it. I'm afraid that only by becoming an emperor can I avenge you. Taoist Wuliang also teased with a trace of excitement in his eyes. The three of them looked at each other and smiled. There seemed to be light surging in their eyes. Everything was understood without words. How dare you? How dare you commit murder in my dragon clan? At this moment, the two battle dragon guard commanders also rushed over. Their eyes were extremely cold as they stared at the woman in white in the void and scolded. So what if I'm from the dragon clan? Today, you must hand this bastard over to me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. The woman in white said with a frosty face and did not back down. At the same time, she looked at Ling Xiao with a dignified gaze. She could see that Ling Xiao's cultivation was in the great sage perfection realm. However, the punch just now was fierce and overbearing. It contained a peerless physical strength. Even she could not withstand it and was sent flying by Ling Xiao's punch. Ling Xiao gave her a faint sense of crisis. He was not simple. Who are you? These two are my friends. How did they offend you? If it's really their fault, I'll apologize to you on their behalf. Ling Xiao cupped his hands and bowed to the woman in white. There was a trace of strange light in his eyes. Although the woman in white in front of him looked like an ordinary holy king, her strength was extremely powerful. Ling Xiao could feel that the woman in white had the combat power of a peak holy king. Otherwise, the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang would not be in such a sorry state. However, when Ling Xiao saw the expressions of the woman in white, the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang, he knew that there was a misunderstanding between them. Ling Xiao, it's all that ox-nosed old Daoist's fault. If he hadn't barged into this lady's place of seclusion and caused her to almost go berserk and see her body, the old goat hurriedly said to Ling Xiao. Shut up. Before the old goat could finish, the woman in white angrily interrupted the old goat. Her face was full of shame and anger. What the hell is going on? Ling Xiao asked. At this moment, Taoist Wu Yang looked calm and composed. Although he looked calm, Ling Xiao could still see a trace of panic in his eyes. Ling Xiao, it's all the ox-nosed old Daoist's fault that this crazy bitch keeps chasing after us. The old goat looked at the woman in white with displeasure, but he didn't say it out loud. Instead, he told her what had happened. As it turned out, the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang had come with Bai Zhe to congratulate the Dragon Clan, but Bai Zhe couldn't leave at the last minute. Instead, the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang represented Mount Devourer to come to the Dragon Clan. When they arrived near the Qingqiu clan in the Eastern Wood region, Taoist Wu Yang discovered a large tomb and was immediately excited. He told the old goat that he hadn't seen Ling Xiao in a long time and that he couldn't come empty-handed. He wanted to rob the tomb and get something good for Ling Xiao as a meeting gift. The old goat was also persuaded by Taoist Wu Yang to agree. The two of them broke through the tomb's formation, avoided countless dangers, and finally entered the tomb. It was a secret realm with a connate spirit root, the tree of divine demons. The woman in white had been sitting cross-legged under the tree to cultivate and seemed to have reached a critical juncture in her cultivation. Taoist Wu Yang had inadvertently triggered the restrictions in the surroundings and wanted to take the tree away, causing the woman in white to go berserk. She even entangled herself with Taoist Wu Yang as if she was in heat. The woman in white's clothes were torn to shreds by herself. Not only did Taoist Wu Yang see her body, but he also touched her all over. However, he still had a bottom line and didn't take advantage of her. Instead, he helped the woman in white get rid of her inner demons. However, when the woman in white woke up and saw the scene in front of her, she was so angry that she almost fainted. She hated Taoist Wu Yang so much that she wanted to tear him into pieces. In the end, the woman in white chased the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang all the way to the Dragon Clan. Good fellow. Taoist Wu Yang, if I'm not mistaken, this woman in white is not only a Saint King, but also a powerhouse of the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan. How dare you take advantage of the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan? I think you're really daring. Ling Xiao looked at Taoist Wu Yang with some admiration. The Qingqiu clan was also in the Eastern Wood region. Along with the Dragon Clan living in seclusion, the Qingqiu clan had practically become the uncrowned king of the Eastern Wood region. They were incomparably powerful. Furthermore, the Qingqiu clan was the most protective. If Taoist Wu Yang's actions were known by the Qingqiu clan, the entire Qingqiu clan would probably come to hunt him down. Taoist Wu Yang's face turned red, and he transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. I didn't do it on purpose. Who knew that she overestimated herself and wanted to comprehend the divine magic law? Her clothes were also torn by herself. The reason why I touched her, wasn't it to save her? This crazy woman doesn't know what's good for her. Nonsense. Not only did you see her body, you even touched her body. It would be strange if she didn't go crazy from anger. Ling Xiao rolled his eyes and said. However, he also understood the cause of the matter. Speaking of which, this was really a misunderstanding. However, it seemed that this woman in white was not so easy to get rid of. Miss, I already understand the cause and effect of the matter. It's a misunderstanding between you two. Is it possible for Miss to give me some face and spare them this time? Ling Xiao cupped his hands at the woman in white and smiled bitterly. Misunderstanding? There's no misunderstanding between us. This bastard did it on purpose. He barged into my place of seclusion and caused me to go berserk. How is this a misunderstanding? Besides, who are you? We don't know each other, so why should I give you face? Get out of my way, or don't blame me for being impolite. The woman in white said coldly. She looked like she would not stop until she killed Taoist Wu Yang. Miss, what will it take for you to let him go? Ling Xiao asked. If you want me to let him go, you'll have to defeat me. The woman in white said coldly as she stared at Ling Xiao. Miss, you're from the Qingqiu clan, right? I didn't want to be your enemy, but if you insist, I'll have to ask for your guidance. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly, but he still took a step forward. His gaze was calm and determined. Chapter 2601. Since you overestimate yourself, then don't blame me for being impolite. The woman in white looked at Ling Xiao and said slowly, Miss, go ahead. I just hope that if I'm lucky enough to defeat you, I hope you can fulfill your promise. Ling Xiao smiled indifferently. Arrogant. I'd like to see how you can defeat me. The woman in white was so angry that she laughed, and there was a trace of cold sharpness in her eyes. She could see that Ling Xiao's cultivation was in the great sage perfection realm. Although his physical body was strong, she did not take him seriously. She was the genius of the Qingqiu clan and had already proven her Tao as a holy king. Moreover, her sword principle was divine. She had even killed a few holy kings. She did not expect Ling Xiao to be so arrogant. He wanted to defeat a holy king with a mere great sage realm cultivation? It was simply a fool's dream. Clang. A clear sound of a sword rang. The ancient sword in the woman's hand was unsheathed, and it let out a clang sound. The cold sword aura seemed to be able to cut through everything, making people feel cold all over. Make your move. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. The woman in white stood with her sword and said coldly while pointing at Ling Xiao. Thank you, miss. In that case, I won't be polite. Ling Xiao smiled indifferently. Boom. Ling Xiao originally looked gentle and elegant, but he seemed to have changed into another person in an instant. A strong battle intent emerged in his eyes. He instantly blasted out a punch. The fierce fist print directly exploded in the void, like a star, and blasted toward the woman in white. There seemed to be a thunderous sound in Ling Xiao's body. His blood and qi surged, turning into the shape of a blood-qi divine dragon. It soared into the sky, making his entire person become extremely violent in an instant. Purple qi spread across 30,000 miles. One punch could destroy the 9 heavens. The woman in white's expression changed slightly. Ling Xiao's punch did not contain any divine abilities or treasured arts. It was purely physical strength. It was even more terrifying than the previous punch. She felt a huge pressure bearing down on her. A strong battle intent also emerged in the woman in white's heart. The ancient sword in her palm flipped, and instantly pierced through the void, stabbing toward Ling Xiao. Sword qi crisscrossed, incomparably sharp, as if it could destroy everything. This ancient sword was a top-grade holy treasure. It was the life treasure of the woman in white. She had refined it for many years and was extremely powerful. Although she felt that Ling Xiao's physical body was very strong, it was probably not as sharp as her ancient sword. Rumble. A blazing sword light burst out from the ancient sword and collided with Ling Xiao's fist in an instant. The sword qi that filled the sky was swept away, and the huge fist continued to blast towards the white-robed woman. The woman in white flashed and leaped into the air. The ancient sword in her hand slashed down towards Ling Xiao's arm. She wanted to cut off his arm. Ling Xiao pointed out with his other hand. The light from his finger was extremely sharp, and it collided with the ancient sword in the woman's hand in an instant. The ancient sword trembled slightly as waves of terrifying energy surged into it, as though it was about to be sent flying. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he took advantage of the situation to punch the sword. The sword trembled violently, and the powerful sword qi actually shattered with a loud bang. The woman in white was also sent flying dozens of meters by Ling Xiao's punch. Miss, is this all the holy kings of the Qingqiu clan are capable of? The Qingqiu clan is only SOSO. Ling Xiao smiled indifferently. Purple divine light surged around him, and his skin was crystal clear, exuding an eternal luster. The sword qi was shattered by him, and it hit his body with a metallic clang. It could not cause any damage to him at all. Ling Xiao, even if you are the chosen one, you cannot humiliate the Qin Qiu clan. The woman in white seemed to be infuriated by Ling Xiao's words. Her eyes were extremely cold, and the ancient sword in her hand hummed and trembled. In an instant, it seemed to come alive, blooming with incomparably brilliant light. The white-clothed woman's entire being became incomparably sharp. Sword intent rose around her, incomparably pure, and her eyes instantly turned a demonic blue. Nine-tailed heavenly technique. As the woman in white roared, a huge white fox phantom appeared behind her. It had 9 furry tails, and its entire body exuded an ancient and mysterious aura. The ancient sword in the woman's hand trembled violently. The 9 tails behind her rushed into the sky, turning into 9 blazing sword chi, and merged with the ancient sword in her hand. In the void, it was as if 10 suns had appeared. Each of them bloomed with blazing sword chi, enveloping Ling Xiao. Devour? Looks like she still went easy on us. Old Goat exclaimed. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He could feel the power of the 9-tailed heavenly technique. If the woman in white had used this attack earlier, he and Taoist Wuliang would not have been able to block it. The supreme saint technique of the Qin Qiu clan. It looks like the woman in white must have the bloodline of the 9-tailed fox. Otherwise, she would not have been able to cultivate the 9-tailed heavenly technique to perfection. Taoist Wuliang said with a bright light. What a powerful way of the sword! Ling Xiao also exclaimed. He felt a trace of threat from the woman in white's attack. The 10 suns above his head, although they were called 10 suns, were actually more like 10 dazzling sword lights. Each of them was extremely sharp, as if they could pierce through the heavens and earth. Although Ling Xiao sighed, he did not slow down at all. Purple qi rose around him, making him look dignified and solemn. Blazing lightning seemed to bloom in his palm. In an instant, a mysterious dragon rushed into the sky. Chaotic light exploded. The dragon emitted 9 rays of divine light, as if it was a creature born from chaos. With a push of Ling Xiao's palm, it met the sword qi that filled the sky. Rumble! The 10 resplendent suns all lit up and beams of sword light descended from the sky. Each beam of sword light was twice as powerful as the previous one, bursting with a power that could destroy the world. Accompanied by an earth-shattering dragon roar, a terrifying divine light storm broke out in the void, sweeping in all directions. It even drowned the figures of Ling Xiao and the woman in white. Ling Xiao leaped into the sky and used the secret teleportation technique to attack the woman in white. He had the Hong Meng immortal body. His physical body was invincible and his combat power was unparalleled. At this moment, his cultivation had broken through to the great sage perfection realm, allowing him to attack more freely. Although the woman in white's way of the sword was extraordinary, it did not pose much of a threat to Ling Xiao. On the contrary, Ling Xiao's close combat was a great threat to the woman in white. Asterisk boom, boom, boom. Asterisk every time Ling Xiao and the woman in white collided, an extremely intense power fluctuation erupted. The momentum was so great that it began to alarm more and more people. Chapter 2602. Among the Dragon Clan, those who came to participate in the Dragon King enthronement ceremony were also alarmed. Even Long Outyen, Long Xiaoxiao, and many other Dragon Clan experts rushed over. Seeing the scene in front of them, everyone was a little surprised. They did not expect Ling Xiao to be fighting with a woman in white. Is this the legendary Heaven's chosen son, Ling Xiao? He can actually fight a holy king with the cultivation of great sage perfection. It seems that his strength is indeed extraordinary. Someone exclaimed in surprise. That woman in white should be from the Green Hill clan, right? Yes, it is. She's a national beauty with peerless elegance. As expected of the Green Hill Fox clan. The Green Hill clan and the Dragon clan have always minded their own business. Why did they come to the 10,000 Dragons sacred mountain? I don't know. However, the battle prowess of this chosen one isn't as strong as the legends say. Legend has it that he killed a celestial venerable. Now, he can't even take down an ordinary Saint King. Isn't that too disappointing? Everyone was puzzled as to why Ling Xiao would fight with the Green Hill clan. At the same time, they were also somewhat disapproving of Ling Xiao's combat power. Although it seemed that a great sage perfection who could fight a holy king was already considered a prodigy expert, who was Ling Xiao. He was the legendary heaven's chosen son, the most monstrous existence in the universe. Especially when it was said that Ling Xiao killed heavenly venerate demonic sunflower and destroyed the demon emperor's clone, everyone's expectations of Ling Xiao increased imperceptibly. Old goat, Taoist Wu Liang? You are also in the demon realm? Why is my cousin fighting with the Qingqiu clan? After Long Outyan saw the old goat and Taoist Wu Liang, his eyes suddenly showed an extremely excited look and asked curiously, "Isn't it because of this old Taoist? He molested her. That woman in white relentlessly chased us all the way." The old goat winked at Taoist Wu Liang and said, "Molested? The Green Hill clan is not so easy to deal with. Brother Wu Liang, you're amazing." Long Outyan glanced at Taoist Wu Liang and said with a face of admiration, "'Tis Xionyang Su? I didn't expect her to have broken through to the Holy King realm." After Xiao Xiao saw the woman in white, there was a look of surprise in her eyes. "You know this beautiful sister?" Long Outyan asked curiously. Long Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes at him and said, "Her name is Su Xionyang, and she's the eldest princess of the Green Hill Fox clan. She's extremely talented and possesses the nine-tailed fox bloodline. 100 years ago, she was only at the Great Saint stage. I didn't expect her to have already broken through to the Saint King stage." The eldest princess of the Green Hill Fox clan? Not bad, ox-nosed old Taoist. The old goat was also a little surprised. He didn't expect the white-clothed woman to have such a high status. He smiled at Taoist Wu Liang. "Go play somewhere else. I didn't know that he was the eldest princess of the Green Hill Fox clan, or else why would I dare to provoke him?" Taoist Wu Liang said innocently, "Don't underestimate Lady Xiao Su. She may have just become a Saint King, but she killed a Saint King when she was a great saint. She has cultivated the supreme emperor art of the Green Hill Foxes, the all-direction annihilation sword Dao. She's probably even more unfathomable now." Long Xiao Xiao warned. "Sword cultivator? Sword cultivators are a bunch of lunatics. Although she's very strong, I still believe that Ling Xiao can defeat her." The old goat's expression changed slightly, but he still said seriously, "Sword cultivators were the most terrifying kind of people, especially pure sword cultivators. They were said to be invincible among those of the same level. It wasn't difficult for them to go against the flow and challenge those of a higher level. After a sword cultivator cultivated to the Saint realm, their strength was incomparably strong. When they reached the Saint King realm, their sword Dao would be complete, and they would have the power to destroy the world. No wonder Lady Xiao Su could kill a Saint King when she was a great saint. However, they weren't worried that Ling Xiao would lose to Lady Xiao Su. Compared to a sword cultivator, Ling Xiao was clearly more monstrous and abnormal. Especially this time, Ling Xiao had refined heavenly master demonic sunflower's corpse, and his strength had increased greatly. They all wanted to see if Ling Xiao could force Lady Xiao Su to use her all-direction annihilation sword Dao. Boom! A blazing divine light exploded in the void, and a terrifying storm swept in all directions. Blood chi rose around Ling Xiao's body, and the dragon's roar contained a powerful spiritual fluctuation, causing his fist Dao to contain an extreme sharpness. Every punch of his was like a rainbow piercing through the sun, and also like the moon from the 9 heavens. It was vast and domineering. Unknowingly, it made people feel as if they had fallen into the fist Dao that he had created, unable to extricate themselves. Outsiders could see that the battle between Ling Xiao and Lady Xiao Su was very intense, but they couldn't tell that Lady Xiao Su was at a disadvantage and had completely fallen into Ling Xiao's fist Dao. Although Lady Xiao Su's attainments in the sword Dao were extremely strong, and every strike had the power to pierce through everything. Her sword intent was incomparably powerful and could shatter the void. However, after Ling Xiao got close to her, she couldn't take the initiative to attack. She could only passively resist Ling Xiao's fist. Ling Zhao's fist was extremely fierce, as if it contained thousands of waves and thousands of mountains. The force surged over layer by layer, causing the ancient sword in her hand, which was a supreme-grade holy treasure, to tremble violently. Every strike would send terrifying divine power into her body, causing her blood and qi to surge. Although she had the bloodline of the nine-tailed celestial fox and her body was extremely powerful, almost no weaker than a dragon expert, under Ling Zhao's terrifying power, her blood and qi were boiling, and her meridians were shaking. She suffered heavy injuries. Finally, Lady Xiao Su couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, and her face turned extremely pale. Bastard! Lady Xiao Su gritted her teeth in anger. Ling Zhao's entire body was like a turtle shell, incomparably sturdy. Her sword qi couldn't pierce through Ling Zhao's skin at all. Even though the ancient sword in his hand could leave scars on Ling Zhao's body, the moment it came into contact with Ling Zhao's bones, there would be the sound of metal clashing. At the same time, there would be an incomparably terrifying rebound force, causing her to suffer heavy injuries. Lady Xiao Su was shocked and angry. Could it be that Ling Zhao's bones were as sturdy as supreme-grade holy treasures? What a freak! Boom! Ling Xiao punched out, and purple divine light surged. Behind him, there seemed to be a mysterious phenomenon of the destruction of heaven and earth, the reincarnation of all living beings, and the decline of civilization. A vast momentum rushed towards her. The sword qi that filled the sky in front of her was swept away. Although Lady Xiao Su blocked with her sword, she was suddenly sent flying. Her entire body felt as if she had been struck by lightning, and her arms began to go numb. There was a sweet taste in her throat, and she spat out another mouthful of blood. "Miss, you've lost." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes were bright and pure, and his powerful battle intent slowly converged. Purple-gold divine light surged around his body, making him look like an invincible celestial emperor, making people feel respect for him. Chapter 2603. Ling Xiao was also very satisfied with this battle. He didn't use any divine ability or treasure technique, but used his pure physical strength to suppress Su Xiaonyang with just a pair of fists. Ling Xiao had gained a lot from this seclusion. He had devoured heavenly venerable demonic sunflower's origin energy, and his cultivation had risen to the great saint perfection realm, but it also made Ling Xiao realize that the strength of the physical body was the foundation. Ling Xiao had come back from the dead. His physical body had fused with the wordless heavenly book and the jade plate of good fortune. These two treasures of the chaos had fused with his body, but they were not as strong as expected. It was as if they were all hidden inside his body. Ling Xiao now seemed to have a huge treasure in his body, but he didn't know how to use it. His so-called primordial immortal body was not the real primordial immortal body. Although it could be said to be invincible in the same realm, if he encountered an unstoppable expert, he could still be completely obliterated. However, he vaguely saw a glimmer of hope. By unlocking the treasures in his physical body and releasing the true power of the two chaos treasures, he might be able to condense the real primordial immortal body. Ling Xiao, it's not that easy to make me admit defeat. As long as you can take this sword of mine, I'll admit defeat. Su Xiaonyang's face was filled with an unyielding expression, and the battle intent in her eyes rose. Her eyes became brighter and brighter. Rumble. There seemed to be a black demonic light surging around her body. Primal chaos mist spread out, as if a kind of extremely powerful killing and annihilating force was being emitted, causing her entire person to become fierce and dangerous. One sword? Then let's decide the victor with one sword. Ling Zhao's eyes narrowed as he slowly said. He felt that the woman in white in front of him had become extremely dangerous. Her entire person seemed to have turned into an unsheathed divine sword, emitting a dangerous aura that could destroy everything. In Ling Zhao's eyes, the space around the woman in white seemed to have collapsed, and all 10 directions had turned into a destructive domain, nurturing a powerful sword. Su Xiaonyang's aura began to surge, and her entire person seemed to have reached an incomparably strange state. Not only was she one with the sword, but she was also one with the heavens and the human Tao. Between heaven and earth, there was only one sword. This is the all-side annihilation sword Tao. Long Xiaoxiao's body trembled, and a trace of incomparable excitement appeared in her eyes. The supreme sword Tao of the Green Hill Foxes? That crazy woman has been merciful all this time. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang looked at each other and saw the joy in each other's eyes. If Xiaonyang had gone crazy, the two of them would have been killed long ago. Everyone was shocked by the destructive sword intent that Xiaonyang's sword emitted. In particular, the saint rulers among them were all stern. Disbelief filled their eyes. Although Xiaonyang Su was only an ordinary saint king, her sword had the power to kill a supreme saint king. Embroiderer Su? The sword Tao of all-encompassing annihilation? Interesting. A glint flashed across Ling Zhao's eyes. He had also heard the discussions around him and knew the identity and background of this white-clothed lady. Su Xiaonyang was still accumulating power, and the destructive sword intent was growing stronger every second. If Ling Xiao attacked now, he might be able to interrupt Su Xiaonyang's accumulation of power and reduce the power of the apocalypse sword Tao. However, Ling Xiao had no intention of making a move. He was waiting for Xiaonyang Su's perfect sword. Ling Xiao vaguely felt that this was Xiaonyang Su's chance, and also his chance. Rumble. Sword chi swept in all directions, and dark clouds rolled in the sky. Bolts of lightning bloomed as if the world was about to be destroyed. The supreme sword intent locked onto Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's expression was very calm, as if he did not move at all. However, the space around him seemed to be distorted, and even time became chaotic. A mysterious phenomenon appeared around him. Heaven and earth were destroyed, gods and demons were roaring, and all living things were reincarnated. However, only Ling Xiao was immortal. All-encompassing annihilation. Following Xiaonyang Su's soft cry, a peerless sword light lit up the world. It was like the first ray of light at the beginning of the universe, and it slashed down towards Ling Xiao. With Xiaonyang Su and Ling Xiao as the center, the surrounding space was instantly annihilated. Endless turbulence surged, and the terrifying power seemed to be able to kill even a saint. Wherever the sword light went, space and time were all annihilated. Good. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up, and his eyes were filled with admiration. This sword was extremely powerful. The all-encompassing annihilation sword Tao was indeed worthy of being the Green Hill Fox clan's supreme emperor technique. It made him feel a strong sense of threat. He still threw out a simple punch. To everyone, Ling Zhao's punch to meet Xiaonyang Su's all-encompassing annihilation sword Tao was like a mortal punching a god. It looked so ordinary and powerless. However, when Ling Xiao threw out a punch, that simple punch seemed to be infinitely magnified in front of everyone's eyes. It was like the chaotic void that encompassed heaven and earth, and contained all things. Its aura instantly soared to the extreme, and it was not weaker than Xiaonyang Su's sword at all. This punch seemed to be able to shatter all worlds, annihilate all living things, and shatter an era of decay. At the same time, endless vitality burst forth, creating a glorious and eternal new era. The Epic Fist. Under the pressure of the all-encompassing annihilation sword Tao, Ling Zhao's spirit was blessed. For the first time, he completely unleashed the Epic Fist. This was his Tao. There was no rumbling sound. The world was silent, as if all sound had disappeared. Wherever Ling Zhao's fist arrived, time stopped, space was annihilated, and the sword energy and divine light storm instantly turned into nothingness. When everyone saw Ling Zhao's fist collide with the all-encompassing annihilation sword Tao, there was also no movement. The sword light began to slowly disappear. That's right, it was slowly being annihilated. It was like a speck of ink on a piece of white paper being wiped away. The powerful sword directly turned into nothingness under Ling Zhao's punch. Everyone widened their eyes in shock, and their mouths were agape. Their eyes were filled with unconcealable fear. Such a strange punch made their souls tremble uncontrollably. Xiaonyang, who was opposite Ling Xiao, also revealed an extremely shocked expression. She felt an unstoppable despair under this punch. It was as if her entire body would be completely annihilated under this punch. There was no way she would be able to escape. She closed her eyes in despair and gave up resisting. Bang! A soft sound came from the void. Xiaonyang-su felt a gentle breeze on her face. There was no pain, and even the fatal threat had disappeared. Xiaonyang-su opened her eyes and found that Ling Zhao's fist had stopped an inch in front of her. Ling Zhao's face was slightly pale, and the blood in his body surged. There was a white mist surging out, as if it was extremely strenuous. Chapter 2604. Miss Su, why didn't you dodge? I almost couldn't hold back. Ling Xiao said with a bitter smile. Xiaonyang's face turned red. Her mind was blank just now. She was completely shocked by the fist intent of Ling Zhao's punch. She didn't notice that Ling Xiao didn't have any killing intent. That punch was only aimed at her sword principle of apocalypse and didn't lock onto her. As long as she wanted to dodge, she could still dodge. Thank you for showing mercy. I've lost. Xiaonyang-su's eyes revealed a complicated expression. She could tell that Ling Xiao had forcefully held back his punch. He had probably suffered quite a bit of backlash. She felt a little apologetic, and even her anger had dissipated a lot. You're welcome. The sword principle of apocalypse is indeed worthy of its reputation. Miss Su's sword probably has the power to kill a supreme sage king. Ling Xiao said with a smile. This sword might be able to seriously injure a supreme sage king, but it won't be easy to kill him. I only have the strength for one strike. Xiaonyang said indifferently. The sword principle of apocalypse was incomparably domineering. She had just accumulated strength for the attack and used up all the strength in her body. She no longer had the strength to fight. That was why she said that if Ling Xiao could withstand her sword, she would admit defeat. Miss Su, I apologize to you on behalf of Taoist Wuliang. He's not a bad person. Ling Xiao said sincerely to Xiaonyang. At this moment, Taoist Wuliang also leaped over and bowed to Su Xiaonyang. Miss Su, I could only do this in a moment of desperation. I didn't do it on purpose. Please forgive me for being presumptuous. You don't have to do this. I, Xiaonyang, am a woman of my word. Since Ling Xiao has defeated me, I won't cause trouble for you anymore. Xiaonyang glanced at Taoist Wuliang and Ling Xiao and snorted coldly. In that case, thank you for your magnanimity, Miss Su. Ling Xiao smiled and heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Miss Su, your name is Xiaonyang. I wonder if you know someone called Su Mainyang? She should be from your Qingqiu clan. Ling Xiao suddenly thought of something and could not help but ask. Su Mainyang was an old friend of Ling Zhao's from the War God world. Back then, she had entered the demon world with King Black Tortoise through the void passageway. Since they were both from the Fox clan, Ling Xiao guessed that Su Mainyang might have also gone to the Green Hill Fox clan. Furthermore, the names of Xiaonyang and Su Mainyang were so similar that Ling Xiao couldn't help but think of something. Little junior sister? You know junior sister? Xiaonyang looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. That's right, Su Mainyang is my friend. We are both from the God of War realm of the mortal realm. So she really is in the Green Hill Fox clan. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Little junior sister is indeed from the War God realm. Now, she's been taken in as a personal disciple by my mother. Her talent is extraordinary and not inferior to mine. If you have the time, you can come to the Qingqiu clan to see her. Xiaonyang-su looked at Ling Xiao and said with a strange expression. Thank you, Miss Su. I'll visit her when I have time. Ling Xiao nodded and said, Taoist Wuliang, I will fulfill my promise and no longer pursue you. However, Xiaonyang pondered for a moment. Her gaze landed on Taoist Wuliang, and her beautiful face suddenly turned red. However, what? Taoist Wuliang felt that something was wrong and quickly asked. However, just because I won't kill you, it doesn't mean that I'll let you go so easily. You saw The women of the Green Hill Fox clan will only recognize one person in their lifetime. Since I can't kill you, then I can only marry you. Xiaonyang's face was red, and she looked incomparably delicate, but she still said boldly. Previously, she was burning with anger and had chased Long Outyin and Taoist Wuliang all the way to the 10,000 Dragons sacred mountain. She did not have the time to look at Taoist Wuliang. At this moment, when she took a closer look, she found that Taoist Wuliang was tall and slender, with jade-like skin and extraordinary handsomeness. His whole body exuded an ethereal and otherworldly temperament, which made her feel happy and her cheeks became hotter. What? Taoist Wuliang was stunned. It was not just Taoist Wuliang. Even Ling Xiao, Old Goat, Taoist Wuliang, Long Xiao Xiao, and the others were stunned. How could there be such a thing? Just a moment ago, Xiaonyang was shouting to kill Taoist Wuliang. The next moment, she wanted to marry him? For a moment, even Ling Xiao and the others could not react. What does this bastard do to deserve the eldest princess of the Green Hill Fox clan? Isn't he just a little more handsome than me? His cultivation is not even as high as mine. Everyone looked at Taoist Wuliang with envy and jealousy. Some people even said with grief and indignation. Taoist Wuliang suddenly shuddered and reacted. He quickly put on a smile and said respectfully, "Miss Su, what about you? I said that I want to marry you, but it doesn't mean it's now. When your cultivation surpasses mine, you'll go to the Green Hill Fox clan and marry me. Remember, if you don't come, I'll castrate you." Xiaonyang interrupted Taoist Wuliang and glared at him. Then she turned and left without waiting for Taoist Wuliang to say anything. She left Taoist Wuliang behind, who was stunned. She's truly an extraordinary woman who acts swiftly and decisively. Ling Xiao praised. That's right. She's also an amazing woman who dares to love and hate. Old Goat agreed. Looks like I'll have another sister-in-law soon. Long Outyin nodded and said in agreement. Taoist Wuliang suddenly shuddered as if his parents had died. His face became extremely ugly. He looked at Ling Xiao and the others and asked, "What should we do? She's relying on me? What should we do? How would we know? Who asked you to be so merciful?" Ling Xiao said while holding back his laughter. "It's fine. Old Taoist Wuliang, whether your Taoist clan can prosper or not depends on you. Wait until you marry Xiaonyang and give birth to a bunch of little Taoists. That's the greatest hope for your Taoist clan." Old Goat put his arm around Taoist Wuliang's shoulder and said with a wink. Long Outyin and the others could not hold it in anymore and laughed loudly. Who would have thought that this would happen? Just a moment ago, Xiaonyang wanted to kill Taoist Wuliang and even fought with Ling Xiao. Who would have thought that in the next moment, she would say that she wanted to marry Taoist Wuliang? This kind of strange brain circuit was so strange that people could not wrap their heads around it. Those who were watching the ceremony looked at Taoist Wuliang with envy. That was Xiaonyang Su, the eldest princess of the Qingqiu clan. She was a woman of unparalleled beauty in the demon realm. Countless people wanted to see her beauty but could not. Now, she was taking the initiative to marry Taoist Wuliang? Could it be that something happened that no one knew about? After all, no one knew how Taoist Wuliang offended Xiaonyang Su. But now, their hearts were burning with curiosity. They kept guessing what was going on between Taoist Wuliang and Xiaonyang Su. Chapter 2605. The enthronement ceremony of the dragon god had ended. Sui Meng. Lithe powerful strength displayed by the dragon clan shocked the sacred grounds and ancient clans. The intimacy displayed by the 5 sacred clans especially made them shiver inwardly. Although the 5 great sacred clans were no longer as glorious as they were in the ancient times, they were still not to be underestimated. If the 5 great sacred clans were to unite, they would definitely be the strongest force in the demon realm. The eldest princess of the Qingqiu clan, Su Xiaonyang, was going to marry Taoist Wu Liang of the Devouring Mountain. This made many people ponder the meaning behind this. The Qingqiu clan and the Devouring Mountain were the top forces in the demon realm. The young lord of the Devouring Mountain, Taoist Wu Liang, was especially close to the dragon tribe. If the Qingqiu clan, the Devouring Mountain, and the dragon tribe were to unite, the power that would burst forth was not to be underestimated. Ever since the disappearance of the Dragon King of the Automatic Dragon clan, Many people in the demon realm had become restless and wanted to plot against the Dragon Clan. This time, they had come to participate in the Dragon King's enthronement ceremony to test the waters. All of this made those people who had ulterior motives extremely shocked. One by one, they extinguished the thoughts of targeting the Dragon Clan. In the Dragon Tribe, the 4 clan leaders also left. They wanted to bring the origin secret technique back and report to the old ancestors of the 4 great sacred clans about the opening of the Chaos Secret Realm. Soon, only Ling Xiao, the old goat, Taoist Wu Liang, and Long Outyin were left in the Dragon Tribe. Old friends were naturally very excited to meet each other. All kinds of delicacies, rare fruits, and nectar of the Dragon Tribe were taken out. Everyone was very happy as they toasted each other. Look, what's this? The old goat was drunk and his eyes were filled with pride. He took out a few spiritual fruits as if he was presenting a treasure. The spirit fruits were snow white and flawless. They were crystal clear like jade, but they were in the shape of a baby. They looked like chubby children. Their eyes were very clear, and they emitted a faint fragrance. These are the ginseng fruits? Long Xiao exclaimed. Her eyes were filled with shock. That's right, these are ginseng fruits. The old goat and I obtained a total of 10 ginseng fruits in the ancient tomb. The ginseng fruit tree and the treasures in the great tomb were all taken by Xionyang Su. Taoist Wu Liang said gloomily. He was an expert tomb raider. After coming to the demon realm, he had raided countless tombs of ancient experts and obtained countless treasures and opportunities. Only this time, the tomb he found was occupied by Xionyang and she chased him and the old goat all the way here. Ox-nosed old Taoist, if the treasures in the tomb are with Xionyang, doesn't that mean that they are with you? You. The old goat winked and laughed. Go play somewhere else. One. What? One. Taoist Wu Liang rolled his eyes and said to the crowd with a smile. Thank you, brother Wu Liang. I'll take it then. Long Outyin said with a smile. He took 2 ginseng fruits and gave one to Long Xiao. With the ancestral dragon's blessing, Long Outyin's cultivation had skyrocketed to the sage realm consummate realm. He had advanced 4 small realms in a row, and his realm was somewhat unstable. The ginseng fruit could strengthen one's foundation and nurture one's vitality. It was very useful for Long Outyin. Long Outyin grabbed the chubby ginseng fruit and took a bite out of it. He bit off the head of the ginseng baby and immediately tasted the sweetness in his mouth. A warm energy flowed through his body and he felt an indescribable comfort. You're so cruel to such a cute ginseng child. Long Xiao looked at Long Outyin with disdain. She held the ginseng fruit with both hands. Her eyes were full of love. She could not bear to eat it. What's so cruel about it? The ginseng fruit is for eating. If you don't want to eat it, I'll eat it for you. Long Outyin said innocently. He swallowed the ginseng fruit in a few mouthfuls. Then he looked at the ginseng fruit in Long Xiao's hand and wiped his saliva. Get lost. Long Xiao looked at Long Outyin cautiously. Seeing Long Outyin and Long Xiao bickering, the old goat and Taoist Wu Liang winked at Ling Xiao as if they already knew what was going on. Ling Xiao ignored the 2 of them and took a ginseng fruit. This ginseng fruit could strengthen one's foundation. It was also very useful to Ling Xiao. Moreover, it tasted very good. Ling Xiao tasted it. All right, since you've eaten the ginseng fruit, let's get down to business. Ling Xiao, the ox-nosed old Taoist, has found a huge tomb recently. Are you interested? The old goat said mysteriously to Ling Xiao. Huge tomb? Not interested. Without any hesitation, Ling Xiao rejected him directly. Taoist Wu Liang had 2 hobbies. One was tomb raiding, and the other was seducing saintesses and geniuses, especially tomb raiding. Back in the war god's world, who knew how many sacred grounds and sex ancestral grounds had been raided by Taoist Wu Liang? Ling Xiao did not expect this guy to be so stubborn. He was still tomb raiding after coming to the demon world. Ling Xiao, let me tell you, this tomb is definitely not ordinary. It's at least 100 million years old. It's very likely to be an expert from the previous era. It might even be an Emperor Realm expert. The old goat did not give up and continued to say, That's right. Ling Xiao, this tomb has an incomplete emperor formation and powerful puppets guarding it. It's at least an emperor realm expert's tomb. If we can enter it, we'll definitely gain great benefits. Taoist Wu Liang said with his eyes shining. Tomb raiding? Can you bring me there? Long Outyen's ears twitched as he said with his eyes shining. Ling Xiao glared at Long Outyen. Then, he glared at the old goat and Taoist Wu Liang. These two bastards had brought Long Outyen out to fool around. Long Outyen had even raided tombs more than once. Such a good kid had been led astray by these two old bastards. The old goat and Taoist Wu Liang looked innocent. Cultivate well and stabilize your cultivation as soon as possible. Then, cultivate the powerful divine treasured skills in the Chaos Ancestor Dragon scripture. When the Chaos Secret Realm opens, you'll bear the heavy responsibility of whether the Dragon Tribe can lead the 5 great sacred clans. Ling Xiao said slowly to Long Outyen. Alright. Long Outyen said listlessly. However, his eyes were rolling around. It was obvious that he did not take Ling Xiao's words to heart. Brother Ling Xiao, don't worry. I'll help you see this guy. I won't let him cause trouble for you. Long Xiao was getting to know Long Outyen better. When she saw Long Outyen's expression, she immediately knew what he was thinking. She quickly volunteered to help Ling Xiao. Our little princess is still the most obedient. Then I'll leave this brat to you. Ling Xiao said with a smile as he patted Long Xiao's head. Hearing the old goat and Taoist Wu Liang's words, he was a little tempted. He was determined to dabble in hundreds of sects and integrate thousands of skills. Therefore, he had to comprehend the path of Tao validation. The inheritance of the emperors and emperors would be a great reference for him. Ling Xiao decided to explore the tomb with the old goat and Taoist Wu Liang. Chapter 2606. The Shifter Emperor's Tomb. This was one of the forbidden grounds of the Shifter realm. Legend had it that the Shifter Emperor was once buried here. The Extreme Emperor's aura transformed into Tao and shrouded the land for hundreds of millions of miles, forming a forbidden zone for life. Following? Dream? Lathe Shifter Emperor's tomb was intertwined with chaotic extreme Tao forces. Those below the Saint Realm would definitely die if they entered this place. Even saints and great sages would fall if they were not careful. Although legend had it that the Shifter Emperor's tomb contained the Shifter Emperor's inheritance and that some people had obtained great fortune and opportunity, the Shifter Emperor's tomb was too dangerous. Therefore, those who dared to enter the Shifter Emperor's tomb were all absolute experts. In the Shifter Emperor's tomb, the mountain range was undulating and exuded an ancient aura. 2 of the mountain peaks were very strange. They were like 2 divine swords piercing through the clouds and also like 2 fingers. They were thousands of feet tall and were very close to each other. The gap in the middle could only allow 1 person to pass through. It also looked like it was split in half from the middle. The one-line sky. These were 2 famous mountain peaks in the Shifter Emperor's tomb. Rumor had it that someone accidentally entered a Sage King's cave abode and obtained the Sage King's inheritance. Later on, many people came to the one-line sky, but most of them came back empty-handed. On a mountain peak far away, Ling Xiao, Taoist Wu Liang, and the old goat concealed their aura and revealed 3 heads. They were focused on the one-line sky in the distance. Taoist Wu Liang, is the great tomb you mentioned in the one-line sky? Ling Xiao looked suspiciously at Taoist Wu Liang and asked. Don't worry. Others won't be able to imagine that there's a great tomb hidden in the one-line sky. I'm guessing that this great tomb is the real Shifter Emperor's tomb. Taoist Wu Liang said excitedly. What are we waiting for here? The old goatist. They had been waiting here for 2 days, but Taoist Wu Liang had been keeping them in suspense. The old goat was so angry that he wanted to beat him up. At this moment, the sky was already dark. The entire Shifter Emperor's tomb was pitch black and extremely quiet. There was no sound at all. Only moonlight and starlight shone down from the sky, making this area look hazy and mysterious. Today is the night of the full moon. When the moonlight completely shines into the one-line sky, the great tomb will appear. Don't be wait a little longer, Taoist Wu Liang said with great anticipation. Then why are we hiding here? Why don't we go straight to the one-line sky? Could it be that there's some kind of danger? The old goat was confused. Of course there's a reason. You don't know this, but when the moon is in the middle of the sky, and the moonlight shines into the sliver of sky, the great tomb will appear. The aura of the great tomb will also leak out, and there will be powerful savage beasts from the Shifter Emperor's tomb that want to charge into the tomb. Those savage beasts are extremely powerful, so we should try our best to avoid trouble. Taoist Wu Yang said with a smile. Ling Xiao nodded and did not say anything else. Soon, the moon was high up in the sky. The bright moonlight sprinkled down like a bright silver pillar, illuminating the sky as if it was daytime. It's about to start, Taoist Wu Yang said. Ling Xiao and the old goat immediately perked up. In the distance, there seemed to be a hazy mist rising in the sky. It looked ethereal and mysterious, like a paradise. Ling Xiao saw that the one-line sky was actually like an ancient gate. Countless mysterious scenes appeared within it. It was as if it was also an unknown space. Moreover, there was a strange aura emitting from it. Roar. At this moment, as if attracted by the strange aura, powerful roars came from afar, shaking the void all around. Rumble. The earth shook, and the mountains swayed. Ling Xiao and the other two could see a horde of savage beasts with terrifying auras charging from afar like mountains. Their eyes were blood-red, filled with greed and passion. They all charged towards the one-line sky. Those savage beasts had auras that were even stronger than great sages. When they charged at each other, it was as if a beast tide had occurred. It made one's scalp tingle. Even if Ling Xiao, Taoist Wu Yang, and the old goat were powerful, they would still find it difficult to deal with these rampaging beasts. What happened next was a surprising turn of events. Ling Xiao could see that the space in the one-line sky seemed to be distorted. The originally narrow space was actually able to accommodate so many ferocious beasts. Soon, all the savage beasts had surged into the one-line sky. The space door in the one-line sky will only exist for a short time. Let's go, Taoist Wu Yang said quickly and took the lead to shoot towards the one-line sky. Ling Xiao and the old goat naturally followed closely behind. The three of them were extremely fast. Like three rainbows, they shot into the one-line sky in an instant. Moreover, it was silent. It was as if there was no sound, nor did it cause any fluctuations. Just as Ling Xiao and the other two shot into the one-line sky, the moonlight also slowly moved away. The one-line sky returned to darkness and calmness as if nothing had happened. Ling Xiao felt that the light in front of him was as bright as day. Only the chaotic space was left. It was as if he couldn't see anything clearly. When his vision became clear again, he, Taoist Wu Yang, and the old goat appeared in a very ancient space. The space in front of them was like a huge cave. It emitted a gray light and was surrounded by cold mountain rocks. There was only a mysterious vortex surging in front of them. Moreover, there was a powerful formation fluctuation emanating from it. The savage beasts that rushed in previously had all disappeared without a trace. This is the great tomb I was talking about. It's in that vortex. However, that vortex is also an incomparably powerful and incomplete emperor formation. Its power is incomparably terrifying. I didn't dare to enter it last time, so I'm not very sure what's in the great tomb. Taoist Wu Yang explained. Ling Xiao looked around. This place seemed to be in the belly of a mountain. There were cold stone walls all around. They looked incomparably ancient. The walls were mottled as if they had gone through countless years and emitted a rotten smell. Everything in front of him looked very ordinary, except for the gray vortex in front of him. Ling Xiao could feel that the gray vortex was emitting a very dangerous fluctuation. Let's go. No matter what, since we're here, we can't go back empty-handed. Let's go in and take a look. A mere incomplete emperor formation can't do anything to us. The old goat said eagerly. His eyes were filled with anticipation. All right, then let's be careful. Those savage beasts should have also rushed into the vortex. If they're all in it, then we'll be in big trouble. Taoist Wu Yang warned. I'll go first. The two of you be careful. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. In an instant, all the aura around him was withdrawn. Like a ghost, he stepped into the vortex. Naturally, the old goat and Taoist Wu-yang followed closely behind. Chapter 2607. Rumble. Ling Xiao stepped into the vortex and immediately saw lightning flashing in front of him. Heaven and earth trembled and the sky seemed to have shattered. It was as though he had arrived in a world that was about to be destroyed. The roars of ferocious beasts resounded through the void. Ling Xiao saw hundreds of ferocious beasts fighting fiercely in front of him. Their eyes were filled with blood-red murderous intent. Deep in Ling Zhao's heart, a murderous intent seemed to have been aroused. He could not help but want to rush into the group of ferocious beasts and kill them all. Oh no! What a strange formation space. It can actually arouse the desires and emotions deep in one's heart. Ling Zhao's expression changed and his eyes became extremely solemn. He could tell at a glance that the world that seemed to be on the verge of destruction was not the real world, but a formation space formed by the incomplete Emperor formation. Those ferocious beasts had low spiritual intelligence and only possessed great strength. Now that they were here, their murderous intent was aroused and they began to kill each other. At that moment, Taoist Wu-yang and the old goat's eyes were red and they looked a little confused. Both of you, wake up. Ling Xiao quickly activated the ancestral dragon's roar and roared in Taoist Wu-yang and the old goat's consciousness. Both of them trembled and their eyes became clear. What a powerful formation. I almost couldn't help but attack the both of you. The old goat said hurriedly with fear in his eyes. That's right. This Emperor formation is too terrifying. After so many years, its power has weakened a lot. Yet it still has such power. We have to find a way to break the formation as soon as possible. Taoist Wu-yang said hurriedly. Rumble. At that moment, the appearance of Ling Xiao and the other two seemed to have alarmed the ferocious beasts that were fighting. Immediately, a few ferocious beasts with powerful auras roared. Their eyes were filled with blood-red murderous intent as they charged toward Ling Xiao and the other two. Get lost. Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold. While suppressing the murderous intent in his heart, he threw out a punch and sent a tiger-shaped ferocious beast in front of him flying. Look over there. That should be the core of the Emperor formation. Taoist Wu-yang suddenly pointed into the distance and said, that place seemed to be the center of the world that was about to be destroyed. The sky shattered, and a huge vortex appeared. Blazing divine light shot out from it like a heavenly pillar that pierced through the world, sprinkling down, causing the void all around to tremble violently. The void around the light pillar seemed to be distorted. These powerful beasts fought and charged towards the light pillar. Their eyes were filled with endless desire. Let's go. Both of you, try not to fight. A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. He leaped up and brought Taoist Wu-yang and the old goat towards the light pillar. Rumble. At the same time, Ling Zhao's fists filled the air. Every punch contained an incomparably domineering power, sending the ferocious beasts in front of them flying. Ling Xiao became a saint with 4 Daos. Ever since he became a saint with his Tao of Heart, his heart charm scripture improved rapidly. Although the formation was strange, it could still withstand his attacks. However, it was not the same for Taoist Wu-yang and the old goat. Their attainments in the Tao of Heart were not strong. They could still barely withstand the attack of the formation. However, if they were to fight with the ferocious beasts, the murderous intent in their hearts would be aroused and they would fight endlessly with the ferocious beasts. Rumble. Ling Xiao caused such a huge commotion, which naturally alarmed the ferocious beasts that were fighting. Moreover, he flew towards the light pillar without any concealment, which infuriated the ferocious beasts. Their eyes were filled with blood-red murderous intent as they charged towards Ling Xiao one after another. The roars of the ferocious beasts shook the heavens and the earth. The ferocious beasts were extremely powerful. Among them, there were 3 ferocious beasts that were as big as mountains. Their strength had even reached the Saint King realm. Although the ordinary ferocious beasts were no match for Ling Xiao and were sent flying with each punch, the three ferocious beast kings still made Ling Xiao feel a little pressured. Boom. Among the three monster kings, one was a black demonic ape. Its face was ferocious and its fur was like steel needles. When it beat its chest, it roared at the sky. One of them was a snow-white, silver-colored wolf. Its eyes were cold and its claws were sharp, as if they could tear everything apart. More importantly, it possessed extreme speed, constantly leaving behind indistinguishable afterimages in the air. The last one was a two-headed W. One of its heads emanated a divine light of extreme yang while the other head emanated ice and frost of extreme yin. They interweaved together and converged into a divine light of yin and yang that was capable of tearing apart space in the surroundings. These three demonic beast kings were extremely powerful. They were not like other ferocious beasts, whose instincts and intelligence had been completely controlled by their killing intent. They still retained a certain level of intelligence, and at this moment, they saw Ling Xiao as their biggest threat. They roared and charged towards Ling Xiao. "Get out of my way!" Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely sharp. He had held back when he attacked just now and did not kill those ferocious beasts. This was because he vaguely felt that if he killed those ferocious beasts, something bad might happen. Moreover, the fierce battle between the ferocious beasts was incomparably tragic. The ferocious beasts that were killed mysteriously disappeared within the array. Even Ling Xiao couldn't sense where the corpses and flesh of the ferocious beasts had gone. Boom! The black demonic ape threw out a punch. Its huge fist was like a small mountain, as if it wanted to smash Ling Xiao into a pulp. Ling Xiao also threw out a punch and collided with the black demonic ape. Both of them trembled as Ling Xiao felt the raging power of the black demonic ape. However, although the black demonic ape was powerful, it was obviously not as terrifying as Ling Xiao's physical body. Ling Xiao only took a few steps back, but the black demonic ape was directly sent flying by Ling Xiao. Gotcha! The void was torn apart and a divine light of yin and yang crossed the sky, containing a murderous intent that could destroy everything. At the same time, the double-headed serpent attacked with a dragon's roar. Ling Xiao's attention was already on the double-headed serpent and the giant white wolf. At this moment, he directly jumped up and pointed his finger in the air. The finger radiance was extremely sharp, like a blazing divine rainbow that could cut off rivers. The divine light of yin and yang shattered instantly. At this moment, the double-headed serpent also pounced on Ling Xiao. It opened its bloody mouth and wanted to swallow Ling Xiao. At the same time, there were several afterimages in the void. The giant white wolf's speed was extremely fast, as if it was teleporting. It was impossible to capture its location. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 2608. A blazing blood aura rose from Ling Xiao's palm and expanded in the void in an instant. It was like a five-fingered mountain falling down. It was ferocious and domineering, directly bringing the two-headed dragon down. Clang! The giant white wolf also made its move. While Ling Xiao and the two-headed dragon were fighting, its sharp wolf claws scratched Ling Xiao's back. Suddenly, 3 bloody marks appeared on Ling Xiao's back. However, when the wolf claws came into contact with Ling Xiao's bones, it felt like they were scratching on solid steel. There was no way to break Ling Xiao's bones. The giant white wolf felt that something was wrong, but its claws seemed to have sunk into Ling Xiao's flesh and were absorbed by Ling Xiao's flesh and bones. Although it was only for a moment, the violent energy in its body burst out and broke free. However, this moment was enough for Ling Xiao to make his move. A bloody light filled the air. Ling Xiao's lightning-fast grab actually pierced through the snow-white wolf's tough body and entered its body. He directly grabbed its heart and pulled it out. The giant white wolf's heart was shining with silver light. It was filled with blood aura and contained a majestic energy essence. Even after it was pulled out by Ling Xiao, it was still trembling slightly. The white wolf let out an incomparably pitiful howl before it was sent flying by Ling Xiao's kick. The giant white wolf had extreme speed and was the most difficult to deal with. However, it was killed by Ling Zhao's trap and was the one that suffered the most damage in the end. If they were in the outside world, the three ferocious beast kings would have thought of retreating when they realized that they were no match for Ling Zhao even after joining forces. However, in this strange emperor formation, they did not know what was attracting them in the light pillar. The three ferocious beast kings were not afraid of death and once again pounced on Ling Zhao. Rumble. The battle between Ling Zhao and the three ferocious beast kings was extremely fierce. Even the ferocious beasts that were affected were severely injured and were sent flying. However, Ling Zhao did not continue to fight with the three ferocious beast kings. Instead, he moved closer to the light pillar as he fought. Ox-nosed old Taoist, fortunately you were smart and did not directly charge into the vortex. Otherwise, you would not be able to deal with these ferocious beasts. The old goat said with lingering fear. Hee hee, but now I'm even more certain that this is very likely the tomb of a great emperor. Perhaps it is the legendary Shifter Emperor's tomb. Otherwise, how could it attract so many ferocious beasts? Taoist Wu Yang's eyes were filled with excitement. As for the danger, he had already thrown it to the back of his mind. Anyway, with Ling Zhao in front, he and the old goat could leisurely observe everything. 1. The ancient formation disc in the old goat's palm slightly trembled and emitted a mysterious light as if it was investigating something. However, the closer he got to the pillar of light, the more intense the trembling of the disc array became. Although the pillar of light emitted a hazy light and looked dazzling, it gave the old goat an extremely dangerous feeling. At the same time, Ling Zhao sent the three feral kings flying again. He took the opportunity to come to the side of the light pillar and sized it up as well. This pillar of light was somewhat similar to the one-line sky outside. It vaguely seemed to lead to an unknown space. Could it be that the real tomb is inside? Ling Zhao thought to himself as his heart skipped a beat. Oh no! Ling Zhao run. This pillar of light isn't the core of the formation. It's the most terrifying killing formation of the Emperor formation. The old goat hurriedly shouted at Ling Zhao. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Rumble. At the same time, the three feral kings saw Ling Zhao approaching the pillar of light. Their eyes were filled with frenzied killing intent as they completely lost their rationality. They led the ferocious beasts in a frenzy and charged towards the pillar of light. Let's go! Ling Zhao made a prompt decision. He instantly brought Taoist Wu Yang and the old goat with him and quickly teleported into the distance. After the old goat shouted, Ling Zhao instantly felt an extremely strong sense of danger. It was as if there was a ferocious beast in the pillar of light. Boom! At the same time, the ferocious beasts under the lead of the three feral kings charged towards the pillar of light in a frenzy. In an instant, an extremely terrifying explosion erupted. Blazing divine light spewed out, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. The pillar of light suddenly shattered, turning into a dazzling rain of light that sprinkled down. In the distance, Ling Zhao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang could feel that the world around them was crumbling in an instant. Runes rose up one after another, and a terrifying emperor's aura swept out in all directions like a tidal wave. Rumble. The ferocious beasts, including the three powerful feral kings, were engulfed by the terrifying emperor's aura. They instantly disappeared in front of Ling Zhao and the other two. The emperor formation seemed to have been completely activated as it frantically enveloped Ling Zhao and the other two. Divine chains of order pierced through the void as runes intertwined like stars. The emperor's aura was completely awakened, and the emperor formation began to display its most terrifying side. Oh no! Ling Zhao's expression changed, and he immediately summoned the Heavenly Might Prison Monument to resist. In front of the fully awakened emperor formation, although the three of them were great saints, they were like small boats in an endless sea, in danger of capsizing at any time. Don't summon the extreme emperor weapon. If it collides with the emperor formation, it's likely to destroy the tomb within. The awakening of the emperor formation is both a good and bad thing. I've already found the loophole in the emperor formation. Now listen to my command. 500 feet to the east. The old goat hurriedly said. The disc formation in his hand was spinning nonstop, and there was a dense mist on it. At the same time, a divine rainbow slowly flashed within it. All right. Ling Xiao did not hesitate and immediately chose to follow the old goat. Following the old goat's command, he directly flew to 500 feet to the east. Rumble. The space where Ling Xiao was originally in was instantly annihilated, and the place where he landed now was actually in a temporary state of vacuum. Divine chains of order and Emperor's aura intertwined, forming an extremely peculiar vortex. 1,300 feet to the northwest, 2,000 feet to the southeast, 3,200 feet to the south, 5,320 feet to the east. Following the old goat's command, Ling Xiao led Taoist Wuliang and the old goat through the awakened emperor formation. It was extremely thrilling, but they were able to land in a safe place every time. This made Ling Xiao extremely surprised by the old goat's attainments in formations. The old goat's innate talent in formations was already incomparably powerful. Ling Xiao did not expect it to be able to even detect the safe spots in the emperor formation. However, Ling Xiao also knew that this was because the emperor formation was too old, and it was already badly damaged. If it was a complete emperor formation, even if the old goat's attainments in formations were exceedingly high, it would probably be very difficult to break through the killing intent of the extreme emperor's aura. End of chapter. Chapter 2609. Kacha. Around Ling Xiao, the old goat and Taoist Wuliang, there was an endless storm. Blazing divine light intertwined, and divine chains of order sealed the area like sword qi, as if they were going to annihilate all living things. Little talk following a dream. Whether we can break in or not depends on this. 360 feet to the south, 720 feet to the east, 1,080 feet to the north. Following the old goat's roar, Ling Xiao's spiritual energy also rose to the extreme. His entire body was like a bolt of golden lightning, and in an instant, he rushed towards the direction the old goat had pointed out. The surrounding storm was incomparably turbulent, and it was as if a gap had appeared in the path Ling Xiao was heading towards, allowing Ling Xiao to rush out directly. Rumble. As if embracing the world of light once again, only a loud rumble could be heard. Ling Xiao and the other two had completely rushed out of the area covered by the Emperor Ray, and the fatal sense of danger also disappeared in an instant. This was a strange space. Although it looked gray, there was a sun in the sky. Although its shape was a little special, it was indeed emitting a faint light. We finally made it out. Good job, old goat. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief, and his eyes were filled with joy. They all turned their heads to look back and discovered that behind them was a gray and hazy region. Chaotic qi lingered around it, and they couldn't see the scene inside clearly. However, there were streaks of bright lightning rising, vaguely forming an extremely strange region. That was the area covered by the Emperor Ray, and also the place they had just rushed out from. What is that? Taoist Wuliang suddenly cried out in alarm. Ling Xiao and the old goat looked in the direction that Taoist Wuliang was pointing at. They realized that a huge valley had appeared in front of them. The valley was filled with a murderous aura. Black demonic light rose up, emitting a hellish aura of decay. Most importantly, the valley was huge, but there were countless ferocious beast skeletons. From those huge skeletons, it could be seen that these ferocious beasts must have been extremely powerful when they were alive, but now only their bones were left. Their flesh and blood had disappeared, and there was no sign of life. At a rough glance, there were hundreds of thousands of ferocious beast skeletons in the valley, or even millions of them. So many ferocious beast skeletons, could they all be ferocious beasts that barged into this place? The old goat was also shocked. His eyes were filled with a solemn expression. The three of them slowly walked into the valley and discovered that the corpses of the ferocious beasts in the valley were so old that they had completely decayed and turned into ashes. Some of them were incomparably hard, and when they were knocked on, they could almost be used to refine divine weapons. If I'm not wrong, these ferocious beasts were at least at the saint realm when they were alive. Over 1 million saint-level ferocious beasts? Who could be so generous? Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably solemn. The scene in front of him made his scalp tingle. The entire demon realm probably didn't have more than 1,000,000 saints, but there were so many corpses here? Could it have been accumulated over hundreds of millions of years? Ling Zhao suddenly thought of the 3 demonic beast kings in the imperial array, as well as the many powerful demonic beasts. Could it be that they were also here? Let's split up and see if the fierce beasts that fought with me before are also here. Ling Zhao said to the old goat and Taoist Wuliang. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang nodded solemnly. They vaguely felt that they had discovered a huge secret. Rather than a valley, this valley was more like a dried-up lake. Ling Zhao stepped on the ground and felt that the ground was incomparably hard, as if it contained an incomparably strange substance. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit wanted to explore the ground, but it was stopped by that strange substance. Ling Zhao, Taoist Wuliang, and the old goat split into 3 groups to explore the huge ferocious beast skeletons. Finally, the 3 of them gathered in the central area. These are the skeletons of the black demonic ape, the snow-white giant wolf, and the 2-headed dragon. Ling Zhao's expression froze when he saw the 3 huge skeletons in front of him. They seemed to have died not long ago, and the huge skeletons still exuded a terrifying evil qi. The black demonic ape was still roaring at the sky, but its flesh and skin had all disappeared, leaving only a huge skeleton standing there. It was the same for the snow-white giant wolf and the 2-headed dragon. Ling Zhao could feel that the 3 ferocious beast kings were filled with unwillingness and resentment before they died, but there was an incomparably mysterious force that directly deprived them of their flesh and vitality, leaving them without the slightest ability to resist. That's right, they did not have the slightest ability to resist. This was because Ling Zhao could clearly see that there was a huge fist-sized hole in the snow-white giant wolf's chest. Its bones were broken, and it was left behind by him. Other than this wound, the 3 ferocious beast kings did not have any other injuries, but they died in such a strange way. Damn it! Ox-nosed old Taoist, what kind of bullshit tomb did you find? Don't tell me the owner of the tomb is still alive? The old goat said, feeling a little scared. How would I know? But now I'm more and more convinced that this is very likely the tomb of the demon emperor. Otherwise, how could there be such a big deal? Tiskati. Millions of ferocious beasts that are comparable to saints have died here. What is the owner of the tomb trying to do? Taoist Wuliang rolled his eyes, but there was an incomparably excited look in his eyes. He did not feel the slightest bit of danger. The area covered by the Emperor Formation is only so big. Other than this valley filled with ferocious beast corpses, there is no other place. If it's really the tomb, where is it? Ling Zhao said slowly. Who knows? Maybe it's underground, or maybe it's in the sky. Anyway, we're already out of danger. We can take our time to find it. If we really find the tomb of the demon emperor, we'll be rich. Taoist Wuliang said nonchalantly. Ling Zhao, ox-nosed old Taoist, did you notice that the shape of the sun above our heads is very similar to a coffin? The old goat suddenly said, his voice cold. Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang shuddered. They looked at each other and looked up at the sky at the same time. The sky was gray and filled with chaotic air. The sun was the only source of light in this space, but it looked extremely irregular. Ling Zhao did not notice it before, but they were now standing in the center of the valley, directly under the sun. After hearing the old goat's words, Ling Zhao felt that it was indeed as the old goat said. This sun might be a coffin. Chapter 2610. Ling Zhao, the old goat, and Taoist Wuliang did not expect the sun in the sky to be a coffin. This discovery made Ling Zhao and the other 2 feel chills all over their bodies. Could it really be the tomb of the Shifter Emperor? The old goat said with uncertainty. There were too many legends about the tomb of the Shifter Emperor. It was a famous forbidden ground even in the entire Shifter realm. The Shifter Emperor had once unified the entire Shifter realm. The old goat could not help but be suspicious of everything before him. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Taoist Wuliang said slowly. Nonsense. The old goat rolled his eyes. Although the sun was shining brightly, it seemed to be able to devour the endless energy in the surrounding void. It contained an extremely mysterious energy fluctuation. Let's go up and take a look. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. In the end, he still decided to investigate the mysterious sun in the sky. Bush, bush, bush. Ling Xiao and the other two leaped up and approached the sun at an extremely fast speed. Ling Xiao could feel that the sun in front of him was surrounded by chaotic energy. It looked misty and illusory. Space and time seemed to have been completely annihilated, leaving behind an eternal sun. There was no space or time. The sun seemed to be right in front of Ling Xiao and the other two, but it was so close that it seemed to be on the other side of the world. Time. Ling Xiao's body exuded a mysterious concept of the flow of time. He took a step forward and blazing divine light surrounded him. It was as if a long river of time flew out, containing an extremely mysterious energy fluctuation. It was as if the space and time around the sun had been repaired. Ling Xiao took a step forward and appeared in front of the sun in the next moment. Whose coffin is this? The old goat sucked in a breath of cold air. His eyes were filled with horror. The sun in front of him looked extremely clear. There was no longer any blur. This was a coffin. It was incomparably huge, like a mountain floating in the void. It looked like it was made of chaotic stones and exuded a mottled and ancient aura fluctuation. The coffin was surrounded by chaotic light. Most importantly, there was an endless amount of source energy overflowing from the coffin, emitting a resplendent light. Therefore, from afar, this coffin looked like an irregular sun. What a rich and pure source energy! The source energy in this coffin seems like it's about to overflow. Moreover, it contains an incomparably vast amount of life essence. There isn't the slightest bit of death aura. Taoist Wu Yang's expression was solemn. The huge coffin looked very majestic and shocking. From the cracks around the coffin lid, the source energy leaked out. The light was incomparably bright and dazzling. Furthermore, the three of them could feel a boundless aura of life coming from the coffin, as if some mysterious existence was being nurtured within it. Shall we open this coffin and take a look? Ling Xiao said to the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang. This coffin gave him an extremely strange feeling. It seemed to contain an extremely strong danger, but it also seemed to contain a great opportunity. Then open it and take a look. Since we're already here, if we don't open it and take a look, I won't be satisfied. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang looked at each other and gritted their teeth. They also felt that this coffin was not ordinary. It was extremely strange and might contain an unimaginable danger. However, they couldn't resist the curiosity and temptation in the depths of their hearts. Boom! Ling Xiao grabbed the coffin lid. It felt as smooth as jade and was extremely smooth. He suddenly erupted with divine energy, wanting to push the coffin lid open. However, there was only a muffled sound and the coffin lid didn't move at all. Let's do it together. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang also joined in. The old goat's original form was the ancient ferocious beast, Taodai. His physical body was extremely strong and was even stronger than the sky prides of the 5 sacred tribes. Taoist Wu Yang was even more so a sky pride of the Tao tribe. He had all sorts of unfathomable means. Rumble. Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang all released blazing blood energy. Divine light spread out in all directions. Vast divine energy erupted as if it could move mountains and seas. This was especially true for Ling Xiao. His physical body was now extremely strong, allowing him to see the cultivation path of the primordial immortal body. At this moment, when his full strength erupted, even a demonic Saint Monarch wouldn't be as terrifying as his physical body. Lightning flashed around the huge coffin as chaotic light spread out. Under the combined efforts of Ling Xiao and the other two, the huge coffin lid was finally pushed open slowly. Boom! A vast amount of origin energy gushed out from within. It contained a vast amount of life origin energy. It directly poured into Ling Xiao, the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang's bodies, causing their auras to rapidly increase. Then, an irresistible suction force came from the huge coffin and sucked Ling Xiao and the other two into the coffin. Where is this? Ling Zhao's eyes were sharp and his body was filled with vigilance as he checked his surroundings. He also felt a little careless. He didn't expect the coffin to be so strange. As soon as it was pushed open, the three of them were sucked into it. The chaotic mist around them was incomparably dense, as if it was a chaotic void. However, it contained an incomparably pure origin energy, causing Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang to feel comfortable with every breath they took. Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, Ling Xiao and the other two heard a violent heartbeat. The void was incomparably silent, causing the heartbeat to be incomparably clear. Moreover, it seemed to contain a strange rhythm, causing Ling Xiao and the other two to feel their blood boiling just by hearing it. What's that? The old goat suddenly trembled and cried out in alarm. The chaotic mist in the distance slowly dispersed, and an ancient giant beast appeared in front of Ling Xiao and the other two. Rather than calling it a giant beast, it was more like a continent floating in the chaos. It was billions of miles long and emitted a terrifying pressure. Ling Xiao and the other two couldn't even see the full appearance of the giant beast. They could only see that the giant beast was completely black, with black scales like mountains. Its entire body emitted a monstrous killing intent. There seemed to be a huge hole in the chest of the giant beast, with a dazzling golden sun floating in it. However, it was filled with dense cracks. Although the cracks looked very small and almost disappeared, it still gave off a feeling that it was about to shatter. That sun seems to be the heart of this giant beast. Taoist Wu Yang said slowly. The heart? Who could actually shatter its heart with a punch? Ling Xiao also felt a chill in his heart. The corpse in the coffin should be this giant beast. Just the aura it emitted was enough to make their hearts tremble. Who knew how powerful this ancient beast was when it was alive? Such a great existence was actually pierced through the chest with a punch, and even its heart was about to shatter. Ling Xiao was certain that this giant beast was at least an Emperor Realm cultivator when it was alive. It might even be the legendary unparalleled Emperor. Chapter 26:11. The giant beast in the coffin was hundreds of millions of miles long. It was suspected to be an ancient emperor or a supreme emperor. It exuded a vast emperor's aura and a murderous aura. However, its heart was almost shattered by a single punch. It was like a sun covered in dense spiderwebs, blooming with pure golden light. Such a scene was incomparably shocking. Most importantly, no one knew if the giant beast's corpse was still alive because the life aura it exuded was too rich. Vast origin energy surged around the giant beast like a river and even escaped from the coffin. Could this giant beast be the legendary demon emperor? The old goat guessed. It's hard to say. After all, the demon emperor was a figure from a few epochs ago. No one knows what the demon emperor looked like. Taoist Wu Yang shook his head. This giant beast is very strange. Although it looks like it has been dead for a long time and is filled with death aura, it still exudes a majestic life force. Look, the life force and origin energy are repairing the giant beast's heart. The cracks on the heart are getting fewer and fewer. When the giant beast's heart is completely repaired, perhaps this giant beast can really come back to life. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered with black and white light as he pointed at the giant beast's heart. Hee, no matter who this giant beast is or whether it can come back to life, I know we've struck gold. Look over there are so many origin energy pills. It's enough for us to cultivate to the Saint King realm or even the Imperial Emperor realm. The old goat thought for a while but had no clue. However, his gaze fell on the void and his eyes began to shine. The gigantic beast was billions of miles long, just like a floating continent. However, above the gigantic beast, an endless amount of origin source energy gathered, forming 9 gigantic Dan rivers. They spread out majestically, containing a boundless amount of origin source energy. The origin energy condensed into origin energy pills, and the origin energy pills converged into origin energy elixir rivers. Origin energy pills contained origin energy. When Saint experts refined origin energy, they could better comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth, and their cultivation speed would also skyrocket. However, in order to condense the origin pill, one must extract the origin power from the world's Tao origin. Even sages and great sages could only condense a limited number of origin pills. The origin pill wasn't just extremely beneficial to the cultivation of Saint Tao experts, it was also the most powerful source of energy for imperial emperors. This was because the emperor's Tao was, in fact, the Tao of origin. If one wanted to break through to the emperor realm, they had to return to the origin, understand their own Tao of origin, and comprehend the origin of all things. Only then would they be able to walk the path of invincibility. These 9 pill source rivers were vast and mighty. It was likely that the coffin had been accumulating them for an unknown number of years. Even some Holy Land sects did not have such a huge pill source rivers. I suspect that the 9 pill rivers of origin are formed by the life origins of the millions of ferocious beasts outside and this strange coffin. Ling Xiao said slowly. Why do you care so much? The old goat is right, this giant beast is very terrifying. If we act rashly, I'm afraid that something bad will happen. However, it shouldn't be a problem for us to steal some origin source pills from the 9 origin source pill rivers. Taoist Wu-Yang also chuckled. Even though Ling Xiao, Taoist Wu-Yang, and the old goat were very confused about the coffin and did not know the origins of the coffin and the giant beast, they could vaguely sense that the coffin and the giant beast were likely left behind by someone on purpose. If they recklessly touched the coffin and the giant beast, they were afraid that something bad would happen. However, the 9 pill source rivers of origin were the true supreme treasures. This made the old goat and Taoist Wu-Yang extremely excited. Yes. These pill source rivers of origin have probably accumulated energy for hundreds of millions of years, or even a few eras. Before we are discovered, we can steal some origin source pills. However, all of you have to be careful. If anything happens, I'll immediately take you out of here. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Although the 3 of them had been swallowed up by the strange coffin and it would be very difficult for them to charge out of the chaotic space in the coffin, Ling Xiao had heaven's might like a prison steel. He could directly open a world passage and leave this place, so he was not too worried. All right, then let's split up. The old goat said eagerly. Then, he leaped up and flew toward one of the pill rivers. So many origin source pills. We're rich. Taoist Wu-Yang also smiled at Ling Xiao. He followed the old goat and flew toward another pill source river of origin. The 9 pill source rivers of origin stretched across the sky like 9 dazzling galaxies. They emitted a dazzling light and the origin source pills floated up and down. They were so densely packed that they were like grains of sand in the Ganges. This was definitely an unimaginable amount of wealth. Sorry, I'll borrow some origin source pills first. When I become an emperor, I'll resurrect you. Ling Xiao looked at the giant beast in front of him and muttered softly. Similarly, his figure flashed and silently arrived in front of one of the pill source rivers of origin. Rumble! A vast devouring power instantly erupted from Ling Xiao's body. He activated the heaven-devouring secret skill to the extreme. The vast heaven-devouring sacred domain appeared and began to devour the pill source river of origin in front of him. At the same time, Ling Xiao summoned the Heaven's Might and a huge black vortex appeared on the body of the Heaven's Might and erupted with an extremely terrifying devouring power. It was like another world as it mightily shrouded the other pill source river of origin. Ling Xiao had devoured 2 pill source rivers of origin at the same time with his own strength. The pill source river of origin surged violently. The origin source pills were crystal clear and contained the purest origin energy. At this moment, they were continuously surging toward Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring sacred domain and the Heaven's Might and Heaven's Might. This is really a great opportunity. These origin source pills are actually the purest origin source pills. Only heavenly venerables can condense them. With these origin source pills, perhaps the time I need to break through to the Saint King realm can be shortened by a lot. Ling Xiao's eyes also lit up. This time, he had devoured the corpse of Heavenly Venerate Mo Kuei and obtained the life origin that Heavenly Venerate Mo Kuei had condensed for countless years. Although his cultivation had skyrocketed and he had broken through to the great Saint Perfection realm in one fell swoop, Ling Zhao's accumulation was too fast. However, Ling Zhao's accumulation was too strong, and his breakthrough speed was too fast. Therefore, it was 10 times or even 100 times more difficult for him to break through to the Saint King realm than ordinary people. In order for a Saint Path source root to grow into a Saint Path tree, it required a huge amount of source energy. Ling Zhao estimated that the amount of origin energy needed for 100 great saints to break through to the Saint King realm was not as much as the amount of origin energy he needed alone. If one's accumulation was too strong, it would cause the barrier of the realm to be extremely firm and the difficulty of breaking through would greatly increase. However, such a majestic origin source pill contained a huge amount of origin energy. Perhaps it could allow Ling Zhao to break through to the Saint King realm as soon as possible. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 26:12. Rumble. The origin source elixir river surged violently. Originally, it gushed out from the depths of the endless void and flowed towards the body of the giant beast. It formed a cycle and continuously strengthened the life force of the giant beast. But now, Ling Zhao had cut off the two origin source elixir rivers. The origin source elixir river no longer flowed towards the body of the giant beast. Instead, it flowed into the devouring sacred world and the heaven's might prison monument. In an instant, the giant beast seemed to have a little turbulence and began to tremble slightly. Thunderbolts intertwined and the giant beast's body trembled slightly. Endless thunderbolts filled the void, containing the power to destroy everything. At the same time, a fierce and monstrous aura seemed to be awakening at any time. Ling Zhao's expression changed. He hurriedly shouted at Taoist Wuliang and the old goat, "Hurry up, this giant beast is likely to awaken." The old goat and Taoist Wuliang also felt the movement of the giant beast and their faces changed drastically. But at this moment, they gritted their teeth and ignored the changes of the giant beast. Instead, they continued to devour the origin source elixir river. Rumble. Like Ling Zhao, the old goat operated the devouring sacred world to devour the origin source elixir river. At the same time, his hands were constantly forming seals in the void, forming a strange and mysterious formation. It seemed to have some kind of support for the devouring sacred world, and its devouring speed greatly increased. Taoist Wuliang directly manifested the Dharma form with thousands of heads and 10,000 arms. Each hand held a powerful storage magic treasure. As he chanted a mysterious incantation, the origin source elixir river split into thousands of streams and flowed into the storage magic treasure. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang's devouring speed was extremely fast. The origin source elixir river had accumulated for countless years and contained hundreds of millions of origin source elixirs. It was gradually shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. But on the other side, Ling Zhao's speed was even faster. The two origin source elixir rivers were quickly devoured by the Heaven's Might Prison Monument and the devouring sacred world. In an instant, 2 elixir rivers of origin disappeared from the void. More than half of the elixir rivers of origin of the old goat and Taoist Wuliang's elixir rivers of origin were also devoured. The giant beast below looked like it was about to wake up. It began to tremble violently. Hundreds of millions of thunderbolts rose around it, interweaving into a destructive thunderbolt domain. A loud roar rang through the sky as if a chaotic demon had awakened. The terrifying sound waves expanded in all directions, making Ling Zhao, the old goat, and Taoist Wuliang feel like they had been struck by lightning. Their eyes were filled with shock. Was this giant beast about to awaken? It was too terrifying. Just a single roar had caused the 3 of them to suffer heavy injuries. Let's go! Ling Zhao did not dare to stay any longer. He immediately activated the Heaven's Might Prison Steel. The vast Saint Qi around him surged towards the Heaven's Might Prison Steel in a frenzy. He wanted to forcefully open a space tunnel. The chaotic void here made Ling Zhao feel great resistance, and it was extremely difficult to open a spatial tunnel. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang were also extremely decisive. When they heard Ling Zhao's voice, they immediately flew towards him. Then, they also poured their saint energy into the Heaven's Might Prison Monument. Boom! The heavenly might was like a prison, shining brightly. An ancient passageway appeared in front of Ling Zhao and the other two. It was flickering as if it was going to shatter at any moment. Who is it? Who dares to destroy my physical body? A cold voice that contained a monstrous roar was heard. Millions of lightning bolts seemed to explode at the same time and were annihilated. A terrifying sound wave surged and swept towards Ling Zhao and the other two. Ling Zhao felt that the figure was somewhat familiar, but he did not have time to think. He immediately pulled the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang into the passageway. Rumble! The terrifying sound wave seemed to have penetrated everything and rushed into the passageway opened by the Heaven's Might Prison steel, causing the passageway to shatter instantly. Ling Zhao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang all spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. Their auras became weak and their eyes were filled with horror. That giant beast was actually still alive? At that moment, it was as if there was an extremely strong divine consciousness that had locked onto Ling Zhao and the other two. It contained monstrous anger and murderous intent, wanting to completely annihilate the three of them. Damn it! The next time I come back, I'll dig up all your ancestral graves. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes revealed an extremely painful expression. A stone talisman that looked extremely simple and unadorned instantly appeared in his palm. The distorted runes on the stone talisman instantly emitted a dazzling light. It was hazy and mysterious and unfathomable. In an instant, it enveloped Ling Zhao and the other two and they disappeared into the chaotic turbulence. Boom! Large patches of chaotic void were annihilated, but the figures and auras of Ling Zhao and the other two had completely disappeared. The terrifying divine consciousness searched for a long time, but to no avail. Only then did it leave unwillingly. The giant beast in the coffin suddenly opened its eyes. It was a pair of eyes that were as bright as the sun, containing monstrous anger and murderous intent. It was cold and bloodthirsty, as if it did not care about the heavens and the myriad worlds. It was a kind of arrogance and aura that was chilling to the bone. An invincible aura. Damn it! How dare you steal my 4 origin source elixir rivers and increase the time it takes for me to recover my physical body by another 1,000 years? Despicable thieves, I won't let you go. A cold voice rang out, setting off monstrous sound waves. This is the aura of that emperor weapon? Heaven's chosen one, Ling Zhao? Very well, I'll remember you. Suddenly, a trace of suspicion appeared in the giant beast's eyes. In an instant, it became cold and blazing. Crack! The void shattered, and Ling Zhao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang suddenly appeared in an unfamiliar mountain range. The three of them were in an extremely sorry state. They were covered in blood, their clothes were tattered, and their faces were extremely pale. However, at this moment, their faces were filled with the joy of surviving a disaster. We've finally escaped. Ling Zhao breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. That terrifying divine sense just now actually made the three of them unable to resist at all. It was as if a divine dragon could kill a swarm of ants with a single breath. This made Ling Zhao feel an unprecedented sense of powerlessness and weakness. That was definitely a great emperor expert, Ling Zhao thought to himself. Although it was just a guess, he felt that an emperor expert was definitely not that terrifying. Ox-nosed old Taoist, you're good. What talisman is that? He actually allowed us to escape from the hands of a suspected great emperor? The old goat also breathed a sigh of relief, and at the same time, he looked at Taoist Wu Yang curiously. The stone talisman in Taoist Wu Yang's hand looked extremely dim at this moment. It was full of cracks and looked as if it would collapse at any time. What a loss, what a loss. I'm afraid my immortal talisman will be completely destroyed if I use it again. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes were filled with pain as he wailed. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 26:13. Immortal Talisman? What's an immortal? Ling Xiao asked curiously. He had never seen Taoist Wuliang reveal such a pained expression. It was evident that the immortal talisman was extremely precious. After all, it must be a priceless treasure for it to allow the three of them to escape from a suspected great emperor. However, the word immortal talisman was extremely unfamiliar to Ling Xiao, especially the word immortal. It gave Ling Xiao an extremely strange feeling. The old goat also looked at Taoist Wuliang curiously. I found this immortal talisman in an ancient relic. It can move the heavens and traverse the myriad of worlds. It's extremely precious. Before I became a sage, I used this immortal talisman to escape from the hands of a sage king. I don't know what an immortal is, but from the few words I found in the ancient relic, it seems to be related to our Taoist tribe. Perhaps it's a tribe, or perhaps it's a cultivation realm. Taoist Wuliang said slowly. Immortal tribe? I've never heard of it. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, I don't think the cultivation realm of immortal has ever appeared. At least in the previous demon tribe era and the human tribe era, I've never heard of the immortal realm. The old goat shook his head and said, who knows, perhaps the immortal tribe appeared in the ancient era, or perhaps the immortal realm existed in the ancient era. Even great emperors could fall, let alone the tribes in the ancient era. No one can live forever. However, this immortal talisman is really useful. It's a pity that we only have one chance. Taoist Wuliang said with a bitter smile. Ling Xiao and the old goat nodded. After all, countless eras had passed. Many powerful races and civilizations had disappeared in the long river of time. Not to mention the ancient era, even the things left behind from the previous era of the demon race were extremely rare. Only the demon world might have some records of them. However, the word immortal made Ling Xiao feel that it was very unusual. Perhaps it was not as simple as Taoist Wuliang had said. After all, an immortal talisman was able to help them escape the pursuit of the giant beast's divine thought. This immortal talisman was extremely impressive. It was comparable to an extreme Tao Emperor weapon or even more precious. However, we've made a huge profit this time. I've just checked carefully. I have about 8 billion origin elixirs with me. The old goat chuckled. His eyes were shining with excitement. It's about the same here. 5 billion origin pills. It's barely enough to make up for my loss. Taoist Wuliang checked his harvest and immediately beamed with joy. You're still not satisfied with 5 billion origin pills? Last year, an elder of our devouring mountain broke through from the great saint perfection stage to the saint kinghood stage, and he only used 30 million origin pills. Even an incomplete supreme emperor weapon only cost 100 million origin pills. You've struck gold. The old goat rolled his eyes and looked at Taoist Wuliang with disdain. Hee, I'm just saying. However, Ling Xiao's harvest is definitely more than ours. We only devoured more than half of the 2 pill source rivers, but Ling Xiao obtained 2 complete pill source rivers. Taoist Wuliang said enviously. I have 20 billion origin pills here. 2 complete origin source pill rivers. If I take them out, I'm afraid I can build a holy land. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Animal. Beast. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang said in unison. Their eyes were full of envy. They had worked so hard, but their harvest was not as good as Ling Xiao's. This was because the giant beast had awakened too quickly. Otherwise, they might have been able to sweep the 9 pill source rivers clean. Why don't I share some with you? Ling Xiao smiled. Forget it, you can keep it. You've accumulated too much. Others can break through to the Saint Kinghood stage with 30 million origin pills. Even if you have 3 billion origin pills, I think it's still not enough. Taoist Wuliang waved his hand. That's right. You're only a step away from the Saint Kinghood stage now. These origin pills should be able to help you break through to the Saint Kinghood stage quickly. However, that giant beast is strange. It seems to be a little too slow to awaken, but I feel like it's really dead. The old goat said with some doubt. You're right. That giant beast is awakening too slowly. If it was really alive, it would have discovered us as soon as we entered. Moreover, that voice was very familiar. It felt like a demon emperor. Ling Xiao said slowly. A demon emperor? The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang both trembled. Their expressions became a little solemn. The identity of the demon emperor was too mysterious. Even one of the 4 heavenly venerables under him, Heavenly Venerate Demonic Kuei, did not know the origin of the demon emperor. However, the demon emperor's forces were incomparably huge. He had even established the demon emperor's realm and had already infiltrated the 5 sacred clans. This time, when the patriarchs of the other 4 sacred clans returned, they also had the intention of eliminating spies. Could it be that the demon emperor was that giant beast? That giant beast should be dead already. However, that voice was very familiar. It might be the demon emperor, but he wanted to refine the giant beast's corpse. We might have unintentionally ruined it. Ling Xiao voiced his conjecture. In that case, we should have ruined the demon emperor's scheme? The demon emperor should be at the imperial emperor realm, but that giant beast was very likely a supreme emperor when it was alive. If it refined the supreme emperor's corpse, then even if the demon emperor couldn't become a great emperor, the other imperial emperors wouldn't be a match for it. The old goat nodded and said, "It seems that we have unintentionally stumbled upon a huge secret." Taoist Wu Yang sighed softly and said, "Regardless of whether my guess is right or not, that giant beast's corpse was severely injured. Its heart has not fully recovered. Now that we have stolen almost 4 pill rivers of origin, I'm afraid that the recovery speed of the giant beast's corpse will be greatly reduced. The demon emperor should not be able to refine it in a short period of time." Ling Xiao said, "As long as there is still time. Ling Xiao, why don't we go in again after we have proven our Tao as divine kings? That giant beast is most likely the corpse of a supreme emperor. If we can absorb a little of its origin, we might be able to touch the supreme emperor realm." The old goat said with his eyes shining. "That's not impossible. However, that place must be heavily guarded now. If we are not completely confident, we should try not to take the risk. My heaven's might is like a prison monument. I have already recorded the spatial coordinates of that place. When the time comes, we don't need to go through the demon emperor's tomb. We can just barge in directly." Ling Xiao did not reject the old goat's audacious idea as he smiled faintly and said, "Bookmark for easy reading." Chapter 26:14. This was an extremely unfamiliar mountain range. Mountains towered into the clouds and ancient trees stood tall. They exuded an ancient and desolate aura. Ling Xiao and the other 2 did not know if this place still belonged to the demon realm. The surrounding environment was extremely unfamiliar to them. Furthermore, this mountain range contained boundless spiritual energy of the heavens and the earth. Perhaps there were powerful cultivators who built a paradise here. Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang sat cross-legged in a valley. Boundless origin energy surged around their bodies. Bright divine light lingered around them as they consumed origin elixirs to heal their injuries. The giant beast in the coffin merely roared and pursued them with his divine will. The 3 of them were severely injured. Now that they were in an unfamiliar environment, they had to heal their injuries as soon as possible to maintain their peak strength. In the valley, Ling Xiao and the other 2 were surrounded by a powerful aura. Their origin energy surged, and it was as if there were 3 bright divine lights shooting into the sky. They were extremely eye-catching. At this moment, a powerful aura swept across the sky. It was extremely fast and landed directly in the valley where Ling Xiao and the other 2 were at. It was a burly man with the head of a bear and the body of a human. He held a stone rod that was as thick as a bowl. His body was muscular and his aura was extremely powerful. He exuded a terrifying aura. His eyes were filled with a fiery and joyful radiance. He instantly retracted his aura. Then, he carried the stone rod and sneakily walked towards Ling Xiao and the other 2. It seemed like he wanted to hit Ling Xiao and the other 2 with the rod. His sneaky look was somewhat comical. Ling Xiao and the other 2 had already discovered this guy. This was a black bear. For some reason, he did not choose to completely transform. He even left a black bear head behind. Even his cultivation had reached the great sage complete circle. He was extremely powerful. However, this black bear looked very poor. The stone rod in his hand was made from some unknown ore. It could not even be considered a divine artifact, let alone a holy artifact. He was also wearing the hide of a demonic beast. He did not even have shoes on his feet. His entire body exuded a rough and wild aura. What do you want? Just as the black bear grand sage was about to hit Ling Xiao with his stone rod, Ling Xiao suddenly opened his eyes and said calmly, You're awake? The black bear grand sage was stunned. The stone rod did not hit him. Big black bear, have you eaten the guts of a leopard? How dare you attack us? The old goat stared at the black bear grand sage and said, Bastard! The black bear grand sage was enraged as he smashed the stone club in his hand towards the old goat. Blazing divine light rose around the old goat. He punched out with a fist that seemed to be able to shatter everything. It collided with the huge stone stick and a crisp sound was heard. The stone stick was directly split in half by the old goat. The black bear grand sage. The three of you, hand over all your treasures and I'll spare your lives. Otherwise, I'll kill you. The black bear grand sage was both shocked and enraged as he berated the three of them. Taoist Wuyang shook his head and said, feeling a little amused, Who knows? Maybe his intelligence isn't high. However, this is the first time I've seen such a poor demon overlord. How dare you try to rob us? You must be tired of living. The old goat sneered, his eyes revealing a trace of coldness. Ling Xiao rolled his eyes and a bright light shone in his palm. Instantly, a black rod appeared. It exuded a powerful aura of the holy way. It shone brightly and looked extraordinary. Black bear grand sage, if you can answer a few of my questions, I'll give you this treasure. How about that? The black rod that Ling Xiao took out was called the primordial heavenly rod. It was only an inferior grade holy treasure. However, when the black bear grand sage saw the primordial heavenly rod, his eyes lit up. Is this for me? The black bear grand sage swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His face revealed an embarrassed expression. That's right. Black bear grand sage, you are so powerful. How can you lack a powerful weapon? This primordial heavenly rod is very powerful. It can split mountains and overturn seas. It is worthy of the black bear grand sage. Ling Xiao said with a smile. How embarrassing. Could I like you? Go ahead and ask. Grandpa Bear will definitely tell you everything he knows. The black bear grand sage's eyes lit up. He stared at the primordial heavenly rod and drooled. What a country bumpkin. The old goat and Taoist Wuyang looked at each other and thought to themselves. It was too embarrassing for a grand sage to drool at the sight of an inferior grade holy treasure. It showed how poor the black bear grand sage was. However, this guy was interesting. He just said that he wanted to rob them and asked Ling Xiao and the other two to hand over their treasures. However, when Ling Xiao took out the primordial heavenly rod to exchange for information, the black bear grand sage felt embarrassed. This guy is amenable to coaxing but not coercion? The old goat's eyes flashed with a strange light. Black bear grand sage, where is this place? The three of us accidentally entered this place. Black bear grand sage, please enlighten us. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Although he could easily deal with this black bear grand sage, he felt that this black bear grand sage was very interesting. An inferior grade holy treasure was nothing. If he could get some information, it would be worth it. This is the demon island of the demon realm. However, this area is the territory of the three sage caves. I accidentally discovered that there was a treasure light here, so I rushed over to check it out. You don't know that we have the demon kings of the 72 caves on the demon island. It is the most powerful place on the endless sea island. It is the holy land of the beast demon race. The black bear grand sage began to talk non-stop. This guy seemed to be a chatterbox. Ling Xiao only asked him about the situation here. He did not expect this guy to reveal all the details, including the demon kings of the 72 caves on the demon island, which powerful guys were there and who had grudges with whom. He was too honest. The old goat could not help but want to say that this black bear grand sage was too honest. Devour. However, they were relieved that this place still belonged to the demon realm and did not go to other greater worlds. Endless Sea Island? I didn't expect that we would come here. The old goat's eyes revealed a trace of shock. Seeing that Ling Xiao was a little puzzled, he explained that the Endless Sea Island was also a forbidden area in the demon realm. It was located in the depths of the Endless Sea and was surrounded by the Nirvana Sea. It was said that it was difficult for saints to cross and was isolated from the world. Even saints did not dare to enter. Therefore, the Endless Sea Island was also the most mysterious forbidden area in the demon realm. No one knew what was on it. What they did not expect was that they had accidentally entered the Endless Sea Island. Moreover, it seemed that the demon race on the Endless Sea Island was a group of bumpkins who had not even seen a powerful holy treasure. Chapter 26:15. The Wujin Island was a legend in the demon realm. It was also the most mysterious forbidden area. Some said that there were powerful antiquity age beasts on the Wujin Island. Others said that there was nothing on the Wujin Island. However, according to the Black Bear Grand Sage, there were 72 demon kings on the demon island alone. The demonic kings of the demonic world were all at the level of Saint King. Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wuliang were all speechless as they began to doubt the Black Bear Grand Sage's words. You don't believe me? Our demon island does indeed have the demon kings of the 72 caves. However, the demon island is the holy land of the Endless Sea Islands. The demon kings of the 72 caves have their own cave mansions. They usually don't come to the demon island except during the Myriad Demon Conference. Seeing that Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wuliang were confused, the Black Bear Grand Sage hurriedly explained. I see. The old goat heaved a sigh of relief. If there were 72 demon kings on the demon island alone, it would be too terrifying. The entire demon island was probably stronger than the demon realm. Thank you for the information, Black Bear Grand Sage. This primordial chaos rod is my gift to you. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he smiled. The primordial chaos rod turned into a ray of light and flew into the hands of the Black Bear Grand Sage. Hee, you're giving this treasure to me? How embarrassing. The Black Bear Grand Sage's eyes shone. However, his face revealed an extremely embarrassed expression. Although he said that he was embarrassed, he held the primordial chaos rod tightly. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. Boom boom boom. The Black Bear Grand Sage's demonic powers poured into the primordial chaos rod. Instantly, the primordial chaos rod shone brightly. Following the Black Bear Grand Sage's thoughts, it started to dance in his hands. A burst of explosive sounds came from the void, and the surrounding vegetation and rocks exploded one after another. The power was truly extraordinary. The Black Bear Grand Sage's face was filled with excitement. This treasure was much better than his stone rod. What a treasure, what a treasure! The Black Bear Grand Sage was extremely excited. This is really a bear playing with a stick. This country bumpkin is really ignorant. The old goat laughed secretly. Brother, what did you say? The Black Bear Grand Sage asked curiously. Ahem. I didn't say anything. I just said that Big Brother Black Bear, you're very powerful. You're so good at playing with the stick. This primal chaos stick will definitely shine in your hands. The old goat coughed lightly. Of course. Brother Goat, you don't know, but this treasure is too powerful. It's even more powerful than my big brother's weapon. I'm afraid that even the weapons in the hands of those demon kings can't compare to this chaos heaven rod of mine. The Black Bear Grand Sage said excitedly. The old goat's face immediately darkened. I am not a goat. I am the great sage who devours the heavens. When the old goat was recuperating, he had already transformed into his true form of the black goat. This was also what Monarch Devouring Sky had told him to show less of his human form. The Taotai clan had their dignity. Great Sage Devourer of Heaven? What a domineering name. May I know the names of these two brothers? The Black Bear Grand Sage said with admiration. Then, his gaze landed on Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang. I am Great Sage Ling Tian. I am the Heavenly Grandmaster Grand Sage. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang said expressionlessly. Good name. Could it be that you three brothers came from the continent in the west? I heard that only the continent in the west has such a precious treasure. The Black Bear Grand Sage asked curiously. That's right. We came from the continent in the west and accidentally stumbled into this place. However, since we know that this is the Endless Sea Island, then we should prepare to leave. Ling Xiao said with a smile. This black bear spirit was very interesting. This Endless Sea Island was also very interesting. The black bear spirit had the cultivation of the Great Sage Perfection Realm. He was so excited when he saw a lower-grade holy treasure. And from what he said, this Endless Sea Island didn't even have a holy treasure? The black bear spirit stone rod was made of countless ores. It couldn't be considered a weapon at all and couldn't be compared to the Chaos Heaven Rod. However, Ling Xiao could feel that this demon island contained an incomparably majestic energy of heaven and earth. There were towering ancient trees all around and there were many precious treasures in the forest. It was even better than many of the paradises in the continent of the demon realm. Could such a place be the backwater that the old goat and Taoist Wuliang thought it was? However, Ling Xiao didn't plan to delve into it. He decided to leave and return to the continent of the demon realm. Brothers, are you leaving now? The Nirvana Ocean around the Endless Sea Island is a place where even demon kings will die. It's too dangerous, the Black Bear Grand Sage said with concern. It's okay. We can try. We'll definitely find a passage. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He had the prison tablet with him and could directly open a void passage. He didn't need to waste any effort to cross the Nirvana Ocean. However, he also knew that the Nirvana Ocean was so terrifying that it probably affected the space here. It wouldn't be easy to open a void passage. Brothers, it's rare for anyone from the Western continent to come to the Endless Sea Island. It's a pity that you're leaving just like that. After all, the Demons Conference is about to begin. If you stay, you might have the opportunity to become a Demon King. The Black Bear Grand Sage said regretfully. Demons Conference. Opportunity to become a Demon King? Brother Black Bear, tell us more about it. The old goat's eyes lit up. He ran to the Black Bear Grand Sage and asked enthusiastically. The Demons Conference is a grand event on the Endless Sea Island. It's only held once every 1,000,000 years. The main reason is because of the 10,000 demons ancient tree in the middle of the Demon Island. It only bears 36 10,000 demons fruits every 1,000,000 years. After consuming the 10,000 demons fruit, there's a high chance of breaking through to the Saint King stage. The Black Bear Grand Sage explained. The 10,000 demons ancient tree is on the Endless Sea Island? The old goat's body shook and his eyes were filled with shock. As the young master of the sky-devouring mountain and the direct disciple of the sky-devouring emperor, he was naturally very familiar with the secrets of the demon world. The 10,000 demons ancient tree was said to be the strongest spiritual root in the demon world. In the Antiquity Age, the 10,000 demons ancient tree was in the hands of the dragon tribe. That was why the dragon tribe could dominate the heavens and become the absolute overlords of the demon world. The 10,000 demons fruits born by the 10,000 demons ancient tree could indeed help the great sages form the sage tree faster. 36 10,000 demons fruits meant 36 sage kings. 36 sage kings were born in the dragon tribe every 100 years. How terrifying was that? After all, in the dragon tribe, if Ling Xiao had not subdued the sage kings in the sealing dragon abyss, the entire dragon tribe would only have a dozen sage kings. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.